included in the annual notice adopted at the reorganization meeting of the board, filed with the city clerk of the city of Paterson, posted in City Hall, and mailed to at least 2 newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the law. Chairman Godfrey?
Yes. The attendance, please.
Thank you. Commissioners, Commissioner Dumas?
Present.
Commissioner Furman?
I'm here.
Commissioner Hodges?
Present.
Commissioner Levine? Absent. Commissioner Minaudo? Commissioner Rohim?
Here.
Commissioner Watkins?
Present.
And Chairman Daxton?
Present. The agenda.
Thank you. The agenda is Thursday, August 13, 2020, 7:30 p.m. via webinar session. Notice pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act addressing effective coronavirus measures on the next public meeting. Consistent with the coronavirus-related restrictions of the Executive Order Number 107, given on Saturday, March 21st, 2020, by Governor Philip D. Murphy, the Board of Adjustment of the City of Paterson will not conduct in-person participation of the public at all future meetings until further notice. However, public participation will be available by means of communication equipment pursuant to NJSA 10-4-8, commencing on Wednesday, April 23rd, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. Though there may potentially be a practical need for a limited number of administrative, technical, or other city personnel to be present in or near the City Council chambers, 3rd floor, City Hall, 155 Market Street in Paterson, New Jersey. In-person participation of the public is prohibited. Nevertheless, for reasons of compliance with the said Executive Order Number 107, public participation will be available by calling 973-321-1579. Meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Before I continue, if someone has their television on, can you mute it, please? Board of Adjustment regular meeting of Thursday, August 13, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. On the date and time that the meeting is scheduled to commence, the public may also participate in the meeting by accessing the website on the City of Paterson, www.patersonnj.gov, and following the email link for the meeting, www.patersonnj.gov/Board of Adjustment. On Thursday, August 13th, there will be a regularly scheduled meeting of the Paterson Board of Adjustment, which will be held at 7:30 p.m. via webinar session, virtual meeting. The following matters will be heard. Number 1, 29. I hear so much.
Hold on 1 second, Maggie. Everybody mute your mic.
Thank you. 29-36 Canal Street, LLC. 29-36 Canal Street, Block 5509, Lot 9. Application to demolish an existing 2-story building and then construct a 3-story, 5-unit building on a 5,441.77 square foot lot. The minimum lot size in an I-1 zone is 10,000 square feet. The first floor will contain 8 covered parking spaces, 1 apartment, and a 2-car garage. The second through third floors will consist of 2 one-bedroom apartments per floor and a community room for a total of 5 one-bedroom apartments in the proposed building. The applicant is providing 10 of the 9 parking spaces that are required. This is for use bulk site plan in an I-1 zone. Is the applicant present?
Applicant's present and ready to proceed.
We do have interested parties and objectors on this case. Item number 2, Paterson Property Holdings, LLC, Paragon, New Jersey Properties, LLC. Carried from June 11, 2020, 124-128 Putnam Street, Block 2920, Lot 14. Application to convert an existing 6-family dwelling into 21 multi-family residential units on a 75 by 100 foot corner lot. The applicant proposes 15 covered parking spaces on the first floor. The applicant proposes 2 two-bedroom apartments and 5 one-bedroom apartments on the second through fourth floors. There will be a total of 6 two-bedroom apartments and 15 one-bedroom apartments in the proposed building. The applicant is providing 15 parking spaces, whereas 39 parking spaces are required. This is for use both D variances and site plan in an R2 zone. Is the applicant present?
Applicant's present and ready.
I'm not sure if we have any objectors on this case as of yet, but I will keep everyone informed. Lastly, item number 3, Goldie C. Summer, 170 Sheridan Avenue, lot 1011, lot 22. Application to construct a two-family dwelling on a vacant lot. The application was previously approved by the Board of Adjustment on September 6, 2012. The applicant proposes to build a 3-story two-family on a vacant 2,500 square foot lot, whereas 5,000 square feet is needed. The applicant is providing 2 parking spaces of the 4 parking spaces that are required. This is for bulk and site plan in an R3 zone. Is the applicant present? Hello, Mr. Ramirez.
The applicant is present and ready to proceed, but I don't know if you can hear me.
I should hear very bad. Somebody has their mic on or their television set. Okay, I understand that you are the attorney for the applicant. I do also know that there is an objector who has an attorney as well. Are you there? He's not here, then I'll make sure he gets on as well. You can continue, Mr. Chairman. This is your agenda, commissioners and staff.
Let's go with item 2 since it's been carried. Item number 2.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I believe my application number 1 and number 3 are the carried matters, which are substantial downward modifications. I'm not quite sure if number 2 was a carried matter or a new matter, but of course, I'll defer to whatever the board wishes.
Maggie, has his case been on before? Madam Secretary?
I'm sorry, I muted myself. Okay, Mr. Maricunda, your items are number 1 and number 2.
Number 1, number 3. Number 3.
Number 3 is not yours, sir.
I'm sorry, number 1 and number 2, excuse me, yes.
Okay?
Yes.
The first matter, Canal Street, was carried from May 28th. And Paterson Property Holdings was carried from June 11th.
So I would like to prefer, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to let my commissioners know that there are, I think I have like 5 to 7 objectors at this time on this Canal Street project.
Whichever way the board wishes to proceed, I'm fine.
Thank you, Mr. Maricunda. Chairman Daxton?
Mr. Are you present?
Mariconda's here.
No, Gary, our planner.
Yes, I'm here, and all 3 applications are fine with me.
All right. Well, let's start with item number 1, Canal Street. How many objectors do we have, Maggie?
Let me just check one more time. One moment, Chairman.
Yeah, he's right there. He doesn't have
What? And then there's 2. Okay. Okay, we have 5 objectors at this time. The other objectors for another case.
let's proceed with item number 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Alan Americano, 726 Market Street, on behalf of the applicant, 2936 Canal Street LLC. As the agenda indicates, and as the board secretary indicated on the record as well, this is a continuing matter where the applicant has submitted amended plans, amended application documents that reflect a downward modification, substantial downward modification of the original site plan proposal. So as indicated on the record already, we're looking now to develop just a 5-unit structure, multifamily, and we are in the I-1 industrial zone technically. Mr. Evans will testify for architectural and planning purposes, and my application documents indicate, and he will reiterate, that this is a fairly isolated location and an irregular shaped parcel, which we believe is best suited for residential use. That being said, I'll call Mr. Evans at this time.
Maggie, this is Gary. Do you have the last revision on this Canal Street? I have my last revision of 5/28/20.
It should be 6/25/20.
Excuse me?
I was indicating to Gary that it should be 6/25/20.
All right, Mr. Chairman, just give me a minute. Let me see if I can find, I don't think I have it, but let me see if I'll look again.
Madam Secretary.
Yes, what does he need, Mr. Baraka?
Revised plans for, the last plan that he has is from 5/20/20. Did any other plans come in?
Yes, I thought I discussed this with him earlier, but, yeah, there is an application, a plan that came in afterward. And I emailed it to him as well.
Well, the record should also reflect we hand delivered all the necessary steps approximately a month and a half ago.
Yes, that's correct, and I did email Mr. Paparazzi this morning for that as well, this afternoon, I'm sorry.
I just emailed Gary.
For the record also, Madam Chair, Mr. Evans just emailed Gary another copy,
But I can post
and
it.
we can post it now if you wish. That's fine, right? Because we're posting it now.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, Gary Paparosi, Aggie did email me something today. It was from 10/19. I have the later one that was emailed from Matt Evans at 5/28/2020. The one Maggie emailed me today was dated 10/3/2019. That was revised twice already. So that's what you emailed me today, Mag. I don't have the one that we're looking at now, but if you want to proceed, I will do my best.
You're correct, it just came back to me. Mr. Malcolm, remember we did speak? And Matt was going to send it to him because the CD that I had was outdated.
The CD was outdated? Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
We
But
submitted
you
those
did mention to me earlier that you were, well, he did send it to me, Matt Evans sent it, didn't he?
Yeah, we just sent another email copy of this plan to Gary, but all the hard copies were delivered.
Yes, Matt emailed me the last time Matt emailed me was 5/28 revision. And then the one that was on the screen now.
Okay.
Gary, your email wasn't working. You guys hear me?
I hear you,
Gary.
Commissioner Levine.
Alright, I wanna make sure it wasn't working for some reason, because it's far.
We have him on the record, right? That he's here?
Now I do.
So, Mr. Gary, you don't have any revised plans for this?
No, I don't, Mr. Chairman. I have the one that was revised after Maggie sent me the 2019, October 2019. I have the one that Mr. Evans sent me on 5/28/2020. I don't have the one that's dated June, I guess, 25th. I'm not sure. But
Excuse me, I do have notations that I sent everything to you.
What you emailed me today, Maggie,
I
was...
think, I don't know, because of the mail and the COVID, things are delayed and things get lost.
And just email
It's
it.
out of my control, but I did send this out.
Yeah. Oh, Gary, Matt emailed it to you again just a couple minutes ago. Yeah.
Okay, well, obviously, there are several calculations that have to be done, so...
So, Mr. Americano, let's do this. We'll go to your next case, and then we'll come back to the Canal Street.
Whatever you wish.
Maggie, could you?
Say that again, Chairman, I'm sorry.
You call the next case. We're gonna come back to this one.
Mr. Chairman,
Next case.
Couldn't speak.
Yes, sir. We can begin on that. 124, 128 Putnam.
Yes.
yes, for the record,
Are you ready?
we are ready. Mr. Romanek and my client are available tonight.
Okay. Let's proceed.
Thank you. For the record, Al Maricondo on behalf of Paterson Property Holdings LLC, also known as Paragon NJ Properties as well. This is an application where we're seeking bulk use and site plan approval with respect to a site on Putnam Street. This is an application which has also undergone a substantial downward modification to reflect some of the planning and zoning considerations that we heard. This is a substantial 7-unit reduction from what was originally proposed. Been calling Mr. Romanek and my applicant as witnesses in this case. We're going to be calling Mr. Romanek as our first witness. This property is located in the R2 zone.
You can start.
Mr. Romanek?
Yes, Mr. Maricondo, Mike Romanek.
Hold on. Please raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your full name for the record.
Yes, Michael Romanek. I have an office at 291 Crooks Avenue in Paterson. I'm currently registered as an architect and licensed planner.
We accept your credentials.
Thank you, sir.
We thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Romanek, you've been involved in connection with the architectural and site plan most recently with this application, is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
And so you're fully familiar and are testifying both as an architect and a planner?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. Would you give us an overview of the site and the surrounding area? What is presently constituted on the site, if anything, and how we propose to develop it?
Yes, Commissioners, if you're looking at sheet number 1 of the set of drawings that you have dated June 20, 2020, you'll see on sheet number 1 the zoning map, which is to the far left. On sheet number 1, you'll see it's in an R2 residential zone. There's also an excerpt of the tax map. You'll see the location of the subject property, which is on the southwest corner of Rosa Parks Boulevard and Putnam Street. There's 75 feet of frontage along Putnam Street and 100 feet of frontage along Rosa Parks Boulevard. And there's also a photograph on sheet number 1, Commissioners. You'll see there's an existing 6-apartment structure there containing 24 bedrooms. Each of these 6 apartments contain 4 bedrooms, so there's a total of 24 bedrooms that's currently in that structure. As you can also see from the photograph, there's no off-street parking as well. And what we're proposing to do is a commercial structure, as Mr. Maricondo indicated. Initially, and originally, Commissioners, the applicant had submitted drawings for 28 units, which was a 4-story residential structure over the ground floor parking, so we did reduce it by 7 units down to 21 units. As you can see, the diagram is we are removing that existing structure, so we'll have a new building. It'll be entirely new structure, new construction. Commissioners, if we turn to sheet number 2, you'll see exactly what we're proposing in terms of the elevation. You'll see on the top side, sheet number 2, which is Rosa Parks Boulevard elevation. And again, the long Parks Boulevard is 100 feet. Also, the lower diagram represents Putnam Street elevation, and again, that has 75 feet of frontage along Putnam Street. You'll see some of the materials that we're using, Commissioners, on the ground level. The Putnam Street elevation, you see that we're proposing to have stone veneer on the floor level. As you can see, the main entrance is shown on that elevation. You with the number 124 above it, that's going to represent the street address, and there's also signage there, Commissioners, as well, which indicate Chelsea Apartments. We looked at the coverage of the signage, and it represents under 1% of the total facade area, which is in compliance with the code. And you can see further some of the other components, Commissioners, as far as there'll be a shingled roof, which would actually be part of the 3rd floor, so it'll look like it's actually a 3-story building with a roof, but that is a full story on the upper level, which is actually the 4th floor. You'll see some of the other items as well, Commissioners. We are proposing the exterior to be primarily of a siding material, but there is an option that we would like to have as far as installing stucco instead of siding. So that's what the elevations look like. You can see there's going to be a planter as well, Commissioners, along the Rosa Parks Boulevard elevation. It's 3 feet high with also planting there as well. We thought we'd certainly want to make it as attractive as possible. Exterior lighting, Commissioner, as you can see. And some of the boxes that you can see under the windows represent these PTAC units, which actually provide heating and cooling to the apartments. So there will be provision for that. The total height, Commissioners, as you can also see on the drawings, the Rosa Parks Boulevard elevation represents 46 feet, 6 inches. The elevation on Putnam Street represents a height of 50 approximately, because there will be an elevator in this building. Commissioners, turning to sheet number 3, you'll see the diagram to the far left represents the ground floor plan. There are 15 parking spaces, as you can see, as noted. The Putnam Street main entry is on the left side, as also noted by the words Putnam Street. There's an elevator there, which in a lobby and stairs. There's another stairway, which is also shown that has direct access up to Rosa Parks Boulevard. There are 15 parking spaces, including the handicap space, as you can see, number 15. There's also a sprinkler utility mechanical room that's located on the bottom. I was going to say south, but it's actually the bottom of the drawing itself. Also, you can see the planter, which is along Rosa Parks Boulevard, 2-foot wide planter with evergreen planting. And you'll see some small open area that has some shrubs in it, and that's in the lower left-hand corner of the subject property itself. There'll be a concrete surface on the parking lot. And as I indicated, the frontage is 75 feet along Putnam Street and 100 feet along Rosa Parks Boulevard. Looking to the diagram to the far right, Commissioners, you'll see actually an aerial view. It's showing the roof line and also the setbacks. We will put back along Rosa Parks Boulevard of feet. We have 2-foot setbacks along the right side or the rear as you're looking at it. And it's also a 2-foot setback on the bottom part there where the structure itself comes out to the property line. And you can see by the notations where the access is to the elevator. We noted that with the words elevator shaft, and there's also a shaft there as well. So you can see what we are proposing, Commissioners, is certainly to remove the existing lot as I indicated. We're going to replace the existing sidewalk as required. All site work will comply with the municipal engineering requirements of and the design details that the city has had. And also there will be a driveway, as you can see, which is onto the street. That would be a concrete driveway and apron.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Oh, I hear a lot of background noise. Can whoever's not on mute their mics?
Chairman Paterson, it's your phone. Is there any way you can mute her, or do you want me to mute you and then put you on when you have a question?
No, I'll handle it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Mayor.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chairman?
You can proceed, Mr. Matt.
Yes, thank you. As you can also see on the site diagram there, we are providing for exterior lighting. You can see the symbols on the diagram to the far right. There's going to be a security and camera provisions that would provide the security in the building itself. Looking at the zoning analysis, commissioners, yes, we are seeking variances for lot size, also front, rear, and side yards, lot coverage, parking. We are required to have 39 spaces as indicated previously. We have 15 spaces. Currently, there's no parking at the structure itself. It's a 6-unit apartment building which contains a total of 24 units. You'll see on the next drawing that in fact we're proposing 21 units that will have a total of 27 bedrooms. So in fact, there will be a slight increase. However, we are providing 15 parking spaces, which we feel is certainly an advantage to the neighborhood. Commissioners, turning to sheet number 4, you'll see the typical second floor plan, the third floor plan, and the fourth floor plan. They're all typical. As you can see from the colored version, I believe your drawings have, commissioners, you can see that there are 7 apartments. There are 2 two-bedroom apartments and 5 one-bedroom apartments. The 2-bedroom apartments have at least the 900 square feet, which is part of the zoning ordinance. And the 1-bedroom apartments have 600 square feet, so required by the zoning ordinance itself. The size of the structure along Putnam Street is 71 feet, and the building length along Rosa Parks Boulevard is 97 square feet. The total square foot area of each of the second, third, and fourth floors is 6,765 square feet. As I indicated, grade level will have the elevator, the lobby, the stairs. There'll be a mechanical room and also the dumpster area. Looking at the typical floor plan, commissioners, the second floor plan, you also see that in fact there is a trash chute room which will accommodate all the residents on each of the floors. There will be trash chute on each of the floors. Looking at the pattern on the far right of sheet number 4, commissioner, you'll see what we are proposing. There will be activities room on each of the floors in the area of centrally located. Each one will be approximately 206 square feet. There'll be a washer dryer in each of the dwelling units. There'll be a dishwasher in each of the dwelling units. Security cameras are proposed as well, not only in the lower level, but also in the corridors throughout the building. Exterior parking, lighting, as I indicated, is also proposed. With respect to fire protection, there will be an automatic sprinkler system and fire alarm system that will be installed. With regards to heating and cooling, that will be provided to each of the individual units as well. And lastly, as I already indicated, there will be trash chute service on each of the floors. So we feel that it is very unique in the sense that we are providing for these amenities. And we think the floor plan works quite well. As you can see from the typical floor plan, the corridors interconnect the stairs, as you can see. And again, looking at the apartments and the apartment numbers, you'll see they're colored in, so you can get an idea of what the 2-bedroom apartments look like, which essentially is apartment number 1 and also apartment number 2. The rest of the apartments from 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are the 1-bedroom units. We do comply with the minimum floor areas as well. Commissioners, the last sheet is essentially some details for the site improvements regarding the sidewalk, the driveway, curbing, and so on. These are technical requirements that we are proposing. And there will also, in the trash room, there will be a fenced-in area, as you can see from the upper diagram. That would be a fenced area. So it would actually hide the refuse area downstairs, which has a dumpster and also has the chute, which would be collected from each of the floors above. And as you can see, there's just various details, commissioners. And that's
Mr.
essentially.
Romanek, excuse me, can you post your plans so the public can see them?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, there are 5 drawings totally, and I believe the one you're looking at now is the typical floor plan. The second, third, and fourth floors are the same. They each contain 7 units, 2 two-bedroom units, and 5 one-bedroom units. So that would be typical for the second, third, and fourth floors, giving us a total of 21 units. Possibly, if we go to the ground floor, yeah, the ground floor, commissioners, as you can also see, that represents the parking area. You'll see the 2 stairways, there's an elevator, there's a lobby, there's also the dumpster area, which would collect all the garbage from the upper floors as well. And you can see also along Rosa Parks Boulevard, we are proposing screening in the form of a planter with evergreen shrubbery.
Okay, Mr. O'Neill, if you would, could you move your testimony into the area of planning with respect to comparing the on-site conditions, this building that sits there with no parking, as compared to what we're proposing, as well as giving us some of an overall analysis of the surrounding area? It's very close to the redevelopment zone, is that correct?
That is correct. It's primarily a residential area, even though it is classified as an R2 zone. There are other multiple families in the area. As I indicated, the photograph on sheet number 1 shows a 3-story building with 6 apartments. Now, I personally have been in the building several times in the past, and there are in fact 4 bedrooms in each apartment. So as I indicated, there are a total of 24 bedrooms currently. What we are proposing would be a total of 27 bedrooms. So we are proposing 3 more bedrooms. I'm emphasizing that only because there is no street parking now. We are going to have obviously 15 parking spaces. There'll be a new structure with many amenities, as we already described. With respect to, we feel that the site can accommodate the proposed structure itself. We feel that it's consistent with the area as well. As I said, even though it's an R2 zone, there are multiple families in the area. The property does represent 75 by 100 square feet, but we think that we have designed it where it is certainly an aesthetically pleasing structure. I think it would certainly serve the neighborhood and general welfare, which I think is primary. So it certainly would promote that. We'd be getting rid of an eyesore, which is that structure. It's not in the best shape. Even if it was to be repaired and so on, it certainly would not equal new construction, which we're proposing. So we feel that this would certainly be a benefit for the neighbors and the general area.
And in terms of providing the new quality housing with a mix of 1 and 2s, you think this offers a better alternative than this very unusual 6-unit, 4-bedroom setup?
Yes, absolutely. There's going to be less people there. I think we would know that. We are proposing 5 one-bedroom apartments. So obviously you're looking at either 1 or 2 people occupying those 1-bedroom units. And as far as the 2-bedroom units, most likely you're looking at a couple with a child. So we feel that even the overall number of people in the building would be less than what's there currently. And again, we're only proposing 3 more bedrooms than what's house. Feel that certainly is yes. And we are providing parking.
And with respect to the lot size, in terms of surrounding new developments, the number of units you feel comports with similar projects that have developed in recent years?
Yes, very much so. As far as the density and FAR, the floor area ratio, we're very consistent, I think, with other projects that have been approved in the city. This certainly would be something that would be an advantage for the neighborhood itself. But it's very similar with regard to the density, that is the number of units per acre, as well as the floor area itself. The amount of floor area that's allowed on the lot, we do exceed it, but we feel this is, again, consistent with other projects.
And of course, aesthetically, there's really no comparison between what's there and what we propose.
Now, everything is everything's going to be, it's new construction, as you can see. We try to make it pleasing. There's stone veneer, there's siding with some optional stucco. We also, as you can see, we've treated actually the fourth floor with a roof structure, so that's going to be shingled. So we're even giving an appearance that it's a 3-story structure with a high roof, as you can see. So we didn't want to do that. There's going to be obviously drainage on the site, as I indicated, all fire protection provisions, security, lights, cameras, a garbage chute. So it's going to be fully accommodating the tenants, certainly.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, that would conclude Mr. Romanik's direct testimony at this time.
Mr. Chairman?
Gary?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I was just waiting for you to go ahead. Mr. Romanik, first, I guess I want to start with the variances, since you have two hats on tonight. And I'll go over them for each of the, not only for with you, but for the commissioners as well. First variance, obviously, is use. The second variance I have is lot area, it's supposed to be 15,000 square feet, and 7,500 square feet is proposed. The minimum front setback on Putnam is 25 feet, and 0 is proposed. Minimum front setback on Rosa Parks Boulevard is 25 feet, 2 feet is proposed. Minimum side setback is 15 feet, and 2 feet is proposed. The minimum rear setback is 20 feet. You show something different on your zoning chart, but that might have been a typo. The minimum rear setback is 20, you propose 2 feet. Minimum lot width is 150, and you propose 75 feet. The maximum lot coverage is 20%, and you're at 90.2%. Floor area ratio, the maximum is 1.5, and the proposal is for 3.67. The density is 50 acres a unit, which means 8 units are allowed, and you propose 21 units. Parking, as you alluded to, is 39 spaces, and 15 are proposed. Now, for low-rise, they ask for open space. The open space requirement, based on the number of units, is 4,500 square feet. Although you don't have any open space, you do provide an amenities room or activities room, which is 618 square feet, which is 4,000 square feet short. No parking is permitted 3 feet to the property line, and you have 0 feet proposed. So, which is not on your list, but that's just an additional one. Now, I'll get into a few of those in a minute, but one, I wanted to talk about you have a trash chute and a dumpster area. How is the recycling separated from the trash?
Well, that would be in the dumpster. You'd have 2 dumpsters in there. When folks go to the chute room on each of the floors, you press a button and it would be diverted to either recycling or waste.
Okay, that's good. That's a good thing. I also have a concern about the closeness to Rosa Parks Boulevard, and only from a sight distance, a triangle. You're proposing the building at 2 feet off the property line, and then you have a planter that's 2 feet with evergreens. Rosa Parks Boulevard is only 50 feet. So the planter to the curb is only 10 feet. It may present a potentially dangerous for pulling out and either crossing Rosa Parks or turning on Rosa Parks. You might need to supply a site triangle for that, especially for engineering, because the building is 4 stories, and and that's 2 feet off the line. So, quite frankly, I would think, although it is probably good for aesthetics, I think if the plan is to be approved, you should at least cut back that planter off of Putnam, maybe another 10 or 15 feet, only to give additional site distance.
Yes, we could certainly do that.
Okay. All right. Now, I also know that, and you and Mr. Maracanda, I know that the existing building is very unusual, you know, especially with 4 bedrooms, but that is, no parking, but that's also because it's 100 years old. And 100 years ago, you didn't need parking, and 4-bedroom units were probably the norm. So, I know it's unusual, but it's only unusual because of its age. And certainly, this would be a vast improvement over what's there. But there are some concerns. Now, the concerns I have include the density and the floor area ratio. Both of those are being increased by 2.62 times. The floor area ratio is 2.62 times greater than the maximum, and your density is 2.62 times greater than your maximum. Which leads to, you know, the definition for that is you're overdoing it just a bit, you know? And of course the parking, I always defer to the commissioners, but the parking in the area wasn't as plentiful as you would think, and 24 spaces short is a lot. You know, 24 times 22 for a parallel space is over 500 feet of area needed just for parking, and that's a lot. So, of course, I defer that to the commissioners, but that's it in a nutshell. Now, the application obviously is aesthetically better than what is there. Obviously, it is in line with the master plan only to improve and to upgrade when you have a building of such age. But my concern is how many times greater that you improve it to, and that's only my concern. It may present a detriment to the neighborhood, and it may not, but it has the possibility to. So that's why it's a concern, and I want the board members just to know it. And if they have a question, I will gladly answer. That's all I have for Mr. Romanek, Mr. Chairman. If the commissioners like to ask any questions, that's fine.
Any commissioners have questions for the architect?
Yes, hi, good evening. This is our Commissioner Furman.
Go ahead.
Yes.
I have a question about the elevator. Is the elevator going to be used for passengers, or is considered as a free elevator? Or both?
Well, it's used for passengers and also as far as moving as well, if the furniture in and out. If a tenant moves out and somebody moves in, it would be used for that. It would be designated at a certain time during the day when hopefully there won't be as many people in the building, but it's a passenger and freight elevator, meaning that it would be, you know, it can accommodate furniture as well. It's
primarily for the residents, primarily.
It's primarily for the residents, and
Yeah.
we also, it has to be large enough to be
Right.
handicap required, you know, ADA required, so you have to get a stretcher in there, so it's gonna be a large elevator.
Right. One more question. What is the capacity of the elevator?
Oh, well, as far as 21 units, based on my experience, I mean, that elevator can accommodate 21 apartments without a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners? Meg, were there any objectors?
Mr. Chairman, could I interject one follow-up question to Mr. Romanek? I'm sorry. Thank you. Mr. Romanek, with regard to the number of units compared to the number of parking spaces, Rosa Park is a major thoroughfare with public transportation, is that correct?
Yes.
So that would be commonly utilized by many residents in that area based on your planning experience?
Yes, that is correct. And as I indicated also, based on the number of bedrooms, you don't really expect that many adults driving.
Right. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
We have no objectors at this time. Mr. Brock, if you'd like to open it up?
Yes, I'm gonna open it up to public. To interested members of the public who may be watching this, if you have any questions of the witness who just testified, with regard to his testimony, you can call 973-321-1579. Again, the phone number is 973-321-1579. And when prompted to, enter the meeting ID number of 711-680-0071. I'll give you that number again. It's 711-680-0071. We'll give it a few moments to see if anybody calls.
How's that, right?
Lynn, I have a question. It's really narrow. Thank you. So would you be able to put up that drawing again? I just wanted to see a couple of things.
Mr. Calendar,
Yes, sir.
one of the commissioners has a question.
Understood. Mr. Romanek is posting it again.
Thank you.
Whatever you wish, we can post.
Which sheet, Commissioner?
I believe it's page 4. Yeah.
That's the typical floor plan.
But there's the trash chute.
Right there. Would you mind just leaving that for 1 second? Thank you.
Do I get to zoom into it?
That's good. That's good right there. Thank you.
No.
Mr. Romanek, this is Gary Paparosi. Also show the commissioner the 2-bedroom one, Commissioner Monaro, show her the 2, zoom in on that as well.
Yes. That's the 2-bedroom unit. You can see the size of each of the bedrooms, 12 feet by 13 feet, and the other bedroom is 11 feet 9 by 14 feet 4 inches.
What's the size of the lot, Mr. Romanek?
75 feet by 100 feet. That's the size of the lot. 75 feet along Putnam Street.
What zone is that? Is it both of them in both streets are in the same zone?
Yeah, yes. The lot
two.
zone.
That's 1 and 2 family, Commissioner.
I have a concern about the density. I really do. And I'm always concerned about the parking, the number of parking spaces. And I'm wondering, is it the amount of units that you placed in there and which you would, is it possible to reduce that further?
Well, Commissioner, that would be something we'd have to address with the applicant and our professional. Probably off the record once all questions are concluded, if we may.
Yes, because I really would have trouble, seeing how this is workable, given the number of parking spaces that are necessary. Even though there is transportation on public transportation on Rosa Parks Boulevard, there is not a lot of parking in that area, which is one of the reasons we challenged this in the past. So we really have to pay attention to the fact that you just cannot bring in large number of units without parking in the city of Paterson anymore. We can't do that. So the density that you place there is quite considerable, which is notable by the number of offsets that you've not looked up at.
Yeah, but let's just keep in mind that right now there's no parking on the property, and by us,
Fernando, you can't testify yet, I'm sorry.
Oh,
No, you can let him know that it's you.
Yeah, but he hasn't
You
been
cannot testify yet, no. We will get to you in due course, Fernando.
Madam Secretary.
no, I mean, just point out.
Yes, Chairman.
Rocker,
Parking space on the
were
street.
there any calls from
No, sir.
the public?
No, sir.
Okay, Mr. Mariconda,
Yes, sir.
call your next witness, please.
Sure. Fernando, now you're going to be sworn and testify. We just had to follow a certain procedure there.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay. He's ready to be sworn.
Hold on 1 second, please. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm testimony you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your full name for the record.
Fernando Hernandez.
Fernando, for the record, you are the principal of the entity and the owner of the property, is that right?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, and obviously you've had an opportunity to hear Mr. Romanic's testimony and all of the dialogue and questions with the staff?
Yes, I do.
Good. Give us a little bit of background first about your development in the city of Paterson and your experience in that regard.
Well, as far as my knowledge in the neighborhood, I was born and raised on Highland Street, which is around the corner from like the property, so I'm very familiar with the area. Right now on Rosa Parks Boulevard, I own 3 properties. On Putnam Street, I own 4. So I know I have tenants, so I know the issues with the tenants, with the issues with parking. That was one of the reasons too. Like when I seen the building 6 units, my first initial what I really wanted to do with the building was just renovate it. But I noticed 6 units with 4 bedrooms each unit, no parking outside. I felt that I wanted to do something better, and came up with this idea of this building. I know it seems when you go from 6 units and jump to 21, when we focus on that, it seems like we're asking for a lot. As Romanic pointed out, currently there are 24 bedrooms, and we're proposing 27. There's no parking at all right now where it is. So with the 4 bedrooms, you can't imagine that it's going to be just kids inside those bedrooms. Each apartment will very likely probably have 3 or 4 cars, and we keep it as 4 bedrooms. So if you multiply that by the 6, we probably would need for that 6-family house currently right now about the same amount, probably about the same amount of parking spaces that the building needs.
I think you need to slow down a little bit for this court reporter.
Oh, sorry about that.
Just try to speak a little bit slower, that's all.
Okay. Just want to say that by placing this building, we're not eliminating the outside parking space with the exception of 1 for like the driveway of the building. I just want to point that out because I know it seems, going from 6 to 21 seems like a big jump. I personally feel that it's a sacrifice worth taking. It's gonna improve the area. I'm surprised this is not a redevelopment zone, because this right here is probably the zone that needs the most development when it comes to properties looking like they need work.
Frankly, there's been a lot of discussion about this area being part of an extension of that redevelopment zone. And so you're not the first person to raise that issue, very frankly.
Originally I really wanted to go the 4 floors, just because I've seen other buildings which have improved the areas where those buildings are located. I know the parking is a big issue. But there is very close public transportation, and not to be funny, but right now, especially with young millennials, they're more into the ride sharing, and right now, anyone who's younger, they're more into that. So the parking, now in the future is not going to be as big as an issue.
Understood. And again, you have, what type of residential developments do you have in the area?
Mostly 2 and 3 family houses.
All right, and you also have other developments in the city with multifamily, is that right?
Yeah, probably close to 70.
Okay. So, obviously you're experienced and you know all about the security concerns in this area?
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's, that's another issue that we have, which is, I'm planning on putting, top of the line security cameras, not just around the properties or in the parking, but also planning on putting it inside each in the elevator and in the hallways, just to make sure we have a good visual of everything that goes on in the property. If I'm sure all the commissioners know Rosa Parks Boulevard with Putnam Street, it's when it comes to like activity. Not that long ago, the police had a camera right in front of the property just to try to curb the drug activity in the area. So by placing this building, it's with the security cameras, I think it's going to help out the police department as well.
Okay. That's all I have with the applicant this time, Mr. Chairman. Of course, available for any questions, and then we would also have our dialogue after all questions are concluded.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Okay.
Go.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Hernandez, the parking analysis, see, you're going from 6 families to 21 families. It's a difference, because if I have a 4-bedroom apartment, the chances are not everybody who's in that bedroom is going to be driving. But you're definitely going to have 21 different families, as opposed to 6 different families where possibility of sharing a car with mass transportation is likely. Also, you mentioned the millennials, the young millennials. While of course they do a lot of mass transportation, also a lot of them in a 1-bedroom apartment have 2 cars if it's a couple. So, but the equation also, when you include RSIS, that's Residential Site Improvement Standards, it includes for visitors and everything. It's just not for the resident itself, and you know for a fact that this resident doesn't have a car. Well, they may have a visitor. So it includes everything. So that combination is like a total package. And the reason why that existing house doesn't have parking, it was because it was built 100 years ago when they didn't need parking. They were using horses.
Now let me ask you this: if I were to build a 6-family house currently right now with 4 bedrooms each apartment, how many parking spaces would I need to provide?
I'd have to do the calculation. It's different than low rise. It's different than 1 and 2 family. So I'd have to do the calculation.
And you have to understand that that's a non-conforming use in that area, that structure. It's not a permitted use. As Mr. Paparazzi indicates, it's a non-conformity that predates the zoning ordinance by a long way. But really, that's not a factor for you to be concerned about.
No, I was just, Mr. McCon, I was just explaining the entire process on the parking out.
I was directing that to my client that, in other words, he doesn't have to be too concerned. I appreciate your answer. But in other words, there's no need to compare apples to oranges, if you will. Because there would not be that type of new construction, in the present time along the lines of your comments, Gary,
Mr. Chairman, that's all I have for Mr. Hernandez. Thank you.
Any commissioners have questions for the applicant?
How many, like one bedrooms, how many two bedrooms, how many is there total in that complex?
Michael, answer that again.
There are five one-bedroom apartments and two two-bedroom apartments.
On each floor. On each floor.
That is correct.
15 one-bedrooms and 6 two-bedrooms.
That's what I meant, so 6 2-bedrooms, right?
Yeah, 6 two-bedrooms, 15 one-bedrooms. 21
Yes.
total.
Yes, hi, this is our Commissioner Furman. I have a question for Mr. Fernando.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Fernandez, gaining access to the building between tenants and visitors, how are they going to gain access to the building?
Well, there's going to be part of the security system is also the doorbell system. It's going to be a state of the art where tenants will be able to communicate through their cell phones. In addition to like a doorbell, so like a tenant could just through their phone, they can just grant a visitor access just by pressing a button.
Intercom.
Not just an intercom, like a smartphone intercom. It's going to have an intercom, but it's also going to be activated to like through a smartphone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Hodges, you had a question about Henry Houston.
Yeah, I still do. I'm concerned about the density. Mr. Paparazzi covered much of what I was concerned about. Obviously, it's a 100-year-old house, and yes, you had 24 rooms. You had 6 apartments, and it's increased the density considerable with the number of different apartment spaces. That to me is problematic in that neighborhood with the parking. It really is. I want to approve a new structure that duplicates some of the issues of the past. I think that one of the things that we really want to do is to make it better and not to create more problems for the neighborhood with density. And again, as a visitor, where do you park as a visitor? And if you're going to have 21 different apartments, you can expect to have at least 10 visitors sometimes. So where do they go? How do they get there? They all take the bus? They take a cab? What do they do?
Well, currently right now, this is a 6-family. There's no parking, so it's kind of like we're still going to be in the same situation.
Well, again, we can address parking in a lot of different ways, Commissioner, in this type of building. Again, there are going to be residents, and I know many of the developers have testified before this board that many of the residents that occupy these new, high-quality, state-of-the-art units, some of them will not have vehicles at all. It's very common. My client indicated that himself today. So we really don't know as a matter of certainty, what the intensity of that parking requirement is, except on experience of developers who have found many times residents do not even own vehicles in any of the buildings in this area.
I do drive the streets of the city, and I have to try to find a way to park, and I can't increasingly. That's an issue in the city.
Hey, Gary, can you tell us how many parking spaces are required right now for the structure that's there with the amount of bedrooms? How many would be required versus how many he's proposing, that would need? Just so we know how many would be needed right now.
Give me a minute then, okay? I'll get right back.
For that, I'd like to know for that. For his 6, the 6-family for how many parking spaces would be needed for that versus what he's proposing, how many parking spaces would be needed. With the land ordinance of today, right now. You keep referring back, and I wanted to see if it's that close, if it is equal.
Mr. Urbanic, you can work on that calculation too, if you can.
Yes, I believe it would be at least 13, because I'm looking at the state standards now for a 3-bedroom apartment. it's 2.1 spaces. So if we multiply that, obviously we come up with 12.6 or 13 spaces, but we do have a 4-bedroom apartment, which is not indicated in the state requirements. It's not.
In reality, increase the requirement.
Yeah, so it would so you would have to have at least 13 spaces, a minimum, for the existing 6.
Mr. Romanek, Mr. Levine, the requirement now for that building, because it only goes up to 3, because 4 bedrooms are not considered, you would need 13 spaces for that building now, and for the building that's being proposed, you need 39.
Yeah, so how are they comparing that? Even the owner or some making a comparison and saying it's the same when it's the difference is almost 25 spaces, 26 spaces. Something like that.
I think he's only comparing the number of bedrooms, but that's why I said.
No. He brought up parking. He said he.
Yeah, I know. He based it on bedrooms and not on families. That's why I tried to make that.
I'm talking about like realistic. I mean, I think he should bring it down now. That I know that he pointed that out to me, the 13. I mean, that's a lot of difference right now. So he did come in here. And if he did come in here and he was proposing a 6-family right now on that property, Gary, and it was vacant, he wanted to build a 6-family like he's building now, and he came before our board, he would only require 13 spaces, you're saying, correct?
That's correct.
That's exactly right. That's the issue.
That's the issue that I'm having now, too, that he pointed it out to me. He's asking for 39 spaces, and he's deficient over 20-something spaces, right? How many is he deficient, Gary?
24.
So that's double almost of what he would need just for his building that he has right now there.
Mr. Miraconda.
Yes, sir. If there's any questions from the public for the applicant?
Would you like to take a few minutes after we have comments from the public to discuss?
Sure. Yeah, if you want to go to the public, if you want to go to the public next, so that's fine.
Yeah. We're gonna go to the public and then we're gonna, then you're gonna have your.
Short break, okay.
Okay, Mr. Walker.
Yes. So remember, yes. Al, can you guys mute your mic for a moment? To members of the public, if you have any questions of the applicant with regard to his testimony, please call 973-321-1579. And when you're prompted to, enter the meeting ID number 711-680-0071. This is solely to ask questions of the applicant with regard to his testimony. You will have the opportunity at the end to give a statement or make comments if you so wish to. But now, if you have any questions, again, please call 973-321-1579 and enter meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Let's give it a few moments to see if anybody calls.
We have no callers at this time.
Okay. Mr. Miraconda. Alan? Alan?
He's not on mute, so he must be in another room.
Just give him a moment.
Alan?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Okay.
at this time you can
There were no other public questions, no other public questions, is that right?
No, there wasn't.
Okay, at this time, we spoke to the applicant. We did speak to the applicant and my expert again, and the applicant elects to proceed with the plan as presently constituted. So I would only remain to sum up whenever you're ready for that portion of the meeting.
Okay, you can have your closing statement.
Thank you. Again, commissioners, we have an application here before you, which focuses primarily on an area which, although not technically in the redevelopment zone, in reality is very, very comparable to the Fourth Ward redevelopment zone goals and aspirations for rehabilitation of existing buildings which are in need of repair, which has been testified to by Mr. Romanek. And the board can see for itself what kind of building it is, and and the board I know is aware of the type of problems that exist in that area, and the applicant's confirmed it in his testimony as well. This is really a state-of-the-art building. It's very comparable to similar concepts that have been approved by both the planning and zoning boards in the surrounding area. The site will provide a reasonable amount of parking. It's obviously not all the parking that's required, but we have these type of units, and it's been testified to on numerous occasions. The 1 and 2s are limited in terms of parking needs as a matter of practicality, not the ordinance requirement itself. This is going to be real quality housing that's needed for the city of Paterson. We think Mr. Romanek has established from an architectural and planning perspective that this type of use in this particular area is a win-win situation, positive criteria. There is no indication that there would be any negative impact on the surrounding area. There are no objectors present. There's been no communication indicating that anyone in the surrounding area has a negative comment to make on this project. And with the quality of the building and with an experienced developer, we feel that this is a very positive project for the city of Paterson. Thank you.
Gary.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Well, while I think the project is certainly an upgrade, obviously the building that is there now is in disrepair, and I'm sure Mr. Hernandez is a qualified developer. My concern comes because the floor area ratio and the density are almost 3 times as much as allowed, which ultimately affects all the variances, which there are 12, and also affects the parking. Now, while there is a chance that they may only need 20 parking spaces, there is also a chance that they're going to need the 39, and that's why RSIS was instituted. So we don't know that, but there is a possibility that, of course, they may be low, but you're always supposed to go to your maximum to protect that there is no detriment to the neighborhood. So I defer the parking to the commissioners. If you are to approve the application, because this is very close to Rosa Parks Boulevard, only 2 feet, I would suggest that tend to be cut back a little bit, only for some sight distance, because that is, right now, I think it is potentially dangerous for people going to be pulling out on Putnam, because there'll be people parked on the street on Rosa Parks, and they're going to be pulling out into oncoming traffic. And so going across Rosa Parks and making turns on Rosa Parks may be very dangerous. But that would be my suggestion. I would like to see more room on Rosa Parks, but for the application that is presented, that is my suggestion. And again, I defer the parking to the commissioners. If there's any questions, I will gladly answer them. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we need a motion. Well, first of all, there was no public, no one from the public, so we'll just go.
That's correct. There was no call-ins. Nobody indicated they wanted to be heard. We could proceed.
Then can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to be denied. If you could go ahead, Maggie, and read the proposal.
Yes, one moment.
We need a second. We need a second to Commissioner Hodges' motion.
I just wanted to read in the records first, the motion to deny. Commissioner Hodges makes the motion that the application of Paterson Property Holdings LLC concerning the premises at 124-128 Putnam Street, Block 2920, Lot 14, be denied. The granting of this application will affect the health, welfare, and morals of the neighborhood and values of surrounding properties. He finds that the granting of this application violates the intent and spirit of the zoning ordinance and the master plan of the city of Paterson. Further, he finds that the applicant has not demonstrated the presence of special reasons and or circumstances which warrant the granting of the variance in this case. Unless there are no specific reasons for denial, you can include them here at this time. In the event of an appeal, an amplified statement of our findings of facts and determinations will be appended to this decision. It is so moved by Commissioner Hodges.
And I'm particularly concerned about the density of the building proposal and the resulting parking.
Chairman?
Yes. I need a second.
This is Commissioner Monaro. I second that, the denial.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Madam Secretary, call the roll, please.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Dumas.
Yes on denial.
Commissioner Furman, yes or no on denial?
No on denial.
Commissioner Hodges, yes or no?
Yes on denial.
Thank you. Commissioner Levine?
Yes on denial.
Commissioner Minato?
It's not like that.
Yes on denial.
Thank you. Commissioner Rohim?
Yes on denial.
Chairman Thaxton?
Well, I feel it's a pretty good project, but we also have a parking problem. And I can see along the street that three new houses, and I don't know where everybody's going to park at, but it's gonna, unless they stop making cars and stop having people drive, roads gonna have this problem. So my vote is no on denial.
Yes on denial or no?
No.
Okay. 5 yes on denial, 2 no on denial. Mr. LaRocca?
5 yes on denial, it's a denial.
Thank you for consideration.
Agree.
Sherman Ave, Maggie. The attorney present for Sherman Ave.
It is 170 Sheridan Avenue, Mr.
Sheridan Avenue. Is the attorney present? Yes. Yeah. Okay, you can get started.
Mr. Mark Mariansky is the attorney.
Mark what?
Mark D as in David, M-A-R-Y, A-N as in Nancy, S-K-I.
Yes, I'm here. I don't think you can hear me on my.
Yes, we hear you, sir.
All right, well, you hear me on the phone, but I don't know if you hear me on the screen.
Yes, I do. But someone has their TV on, so unless there's some interference.
Okay, you want to get started?
It's still stuck on the screen for me for the old application with the floor.
Alan, or actually Mr. Romanek. Is Mr. Romanek still here? He's got to unshare the screen.
I think Mr. Hernandez can do it.
Mr. Maricondo? I'll call him on his phone.
Please do it right now. Please do it. Mr. Romanek's feeling. Trying to exit out as opposed to unshare. You get Mr. Romanek on the phone?
You're still sharing the screen. Right?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Can we get him on the phone?
Yes, I'm calling him, sir. One moment.
Gary? Gary?
Yes, Jimmy.
Were you able to find anything for 2729 Canal Street?
He sent it to me, but I didn't go get it yet because I was in the application. So
No, we're not going to do that next. I just wanted to know if you were able to find anything.
Well, he said he just sent it to me. I assume he just sent it to me now. I'll check. But I didn't have anything prior, sir. Hold on, I'll check if it came to him.
Oh, okay.
Chairman Daxton?
Yes.
We do have a neighbor next door to this property. She has an attorney. He is on the meeting as well. His name is Mark Ruffalo. Ruffolo.
Then we're off.
Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm there. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. When they are ready to address you, they will call you, sir. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Matt Evans just sent it to me now, so I have it now. I didn't have it prior, but I have it now. And quite frankly, Mr. Chairman, when these revisions are made, especially either change in plans or based on my report, it's not fair just to send them to the secretary. If you go to the zoning office, there's papers piled up to the ceiling. And quite frankly, I go there, I pick up, she mails some stuff, but there's just so much that it gets lost. But from what the secretary said, an email copy, but that should be done in the future for all these applications, because after to me to do calculations on the fly for each application. But he did send it now. Mr. Evans did send.
Gary, you feel comfortable going ahead with the application, or no? Do you need some time to review it? No.
I would like time to review it, but I'll let you guys make the call.
I'll make that decision.
Gary, you need time?
I would, but I'll leave it up to the commissioners and the chairman.
Which application are we discussing, Mr. Paparazzi?
We're discussing right now the, Canal Street.
Thank you.
I wanted to note for the record, Alan Mariconda, again, we follow the exact procedure we followed for many, many years. I come in, I mark and designate very specifically that these are amended plans, amended letter of intent, amended application, and we got an amended review from the zoning officer. And I follow the secretary's instructions, which is to deal directly with her all the time. And I wish Mr. Paparazzi had gotten the plans, but we were way ahead by several weeks on this. And I can't interject where I'm told not to intervene with the process of the city.
Mr. Mariconda, they do need to go to the secretary before the planner receives them.
I'm following exactly what you said.
They have to be in 10 days before that. I'm not saying that they were or they wasn't, but
we're in 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
They were in my office on July 2nd, I think it was.
6 weeks, like I said.
And I have a note here that I mailed them, but like I said, lately people get their mail and they don't get their mail, so I really don't know.
Listen, this is not appropriate right now for the record. Let's just figure out if we're moving forward with the meeting or not. If Mr. Paparazzi's able to move forward, and if the chairman deemed we should.
If I may, Mr. Rocker, what happened to the second case? I had stepped out.
Mr. We're going to do Sherman Ave.
Okay.
I asked Mr. Gary a question. We're going to do Sherman Ave right now. Is the screen clear?
Yes, Chairman.
It is clear. Okay. The attorney for 130 Sherman Ave. You want to proceed?
Well, let's find out. Mr. Chairman, are we going to wait and see if we're going to be reached, or how should I handle it on my end, on the canal?
You're just going to have to wait, Mr. Mariconda. I was involved in this case, all right?
Understood. No problem. I understand. We'll wait until you give us the call.
130 Sherman Ave, please.
170 Sheridan Avenue. Mr. Mariansky. Mr. Mariansky, are you there, sir?
I'm here. Yes.
Will you address the board,
Let's
please?
keep started.
What type of?
IT is working on it, sir. It's gone now. Mr. Mariansky? Oh my God.
You hear me?
Mr. Mariansky, you must have another device on. You must either have a computer, an iPad, something, because you're getting cross frequencies.
Is this television on?
It's not a TV. It would be another electronic device that's on the program. Gotta shut something down.
Try it now. Mr. LaRocca?
Yes.
Can you speak so I can see if it's still there, the echo?
Echo was only coming from the other attorney.
Okay, I muted him. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's coming from him. He has to turn off the device. Try again.
I muted him since he's not going to speak at this time, but Mr. Mariansky is on.
If he's not, we're going to have to come back to him.
No, it was the other attorney, the objector's attorney. I muted him. Mr. Mariansky, can you speak, sir?
Hello, is anybody there?
Mr. Mariansky, are you there, sir? Let me see if I can reach him on his cell phone. One moment.
Maggie, we're just gonna have to go to the next case. We'll just have to come back to him.
Okay, whatever you prefer. He says he's there, but he's by chat. I don't get it.
Excuse me?
He's texting me that he's here, but I don't hear him. All right. Continue, Chairman.
Gary and Mr. Mariconda. Alan?
Yes, we're back. I'm on.
Yes, Chairman.
I'm on.
Gary, are you on?
I'm on the Chairman, yes.
Okay, what are we gonna do about this case?
Mr. Chairman, I'll do what you like. Whatever you make the call. If I have to,
Do you need more time? That's what I'm asking you.
I'll take time as we go through the application, and then I'll just take time. I'll need time for my comments and a little bit more time for the verification of zoning variances. So, if you want, I can. I'll do it on the fly. I just need the time for the calculations, because each one will change. I think he got rid of a floor. And so consequently, he went from 10 units to 5 units. I only looked at it real quick a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
So everything will, mostly everything will change, but there are some issues.
Hey, Mr. Mariconda.
Yes. Yes. Yes, sir. I'm here.
Our planner is saying that he's okay, Gary, what do you want to do, Gary? Do you want to proceed with this, or do you want to?
Right. Well, Chairman, I'll do whatever you tell me to do. It's that simple. If you tell me to do it, we'll do it, and we'll.
Do you need more time to look at the plans?
That's right. I'll just need a little time in between questioning and some calculations. If Mr. Evans is going to put them on the screen, I'll try and follow along, and then I'll try and make some changes as we go.
We appreciate that.
Okay, Mr. Mariconda, go ahead.
We thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Excuse me. Maggie, how many objectives do you have?
I have 3, 4, 5 so far. As you start calling in, when you call the number, they'll start calling in as well. So right now we have 5 that we can contact on the spot, but there is a delay because we have to text them when to call in, and that's the only delay. So in between each objector, I have to have at least 3 minutes.
Well, all right. So, but Chairman, quick. Don't we have an issue now that these plans weren't available for the objectors before this evening also now?
No, they were in for 6 weeks, Mr. LaRocca, in the planning department.
Just not to Gary. All right. And whatever I'll do, Chairman, I just had 6 objectors and a planner who hasn't reviewed the plans.
We do need to know if they've seen the revised plans.
Marco, doesn't the objectors have a lawyer? Doesn't one of the objectors have a lawyer?
Not in this case that we're aware of.
That's the
objectors. They have a problem with it.
No, this application does not have an attorney.
Ask the objectors if they have a problem with it, if they knew these plans were amended, or see if they have a problem with it.
Well, they were advertised and it was mentioned in the advertisement that was placed in the paper that if they needed to see the plans, they can always come to the office.
They're in the office, they just weren't in Mr. Paparosi's office. They're in the office now. But just, procedurally, I mean, okay, I defer to the chairman, obviously, but procedurally with six objectors and plans that haven't been reviewed, and it's 9:15, does it really make sense?
Yes, Meg. Yeah, Maggie, could you find out from the objectors if they've seen the plans? If not, we're not going to hear this case.
Okay, I'll have to call them, so I need at least a few minutes to contact each one individually. All right?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. If not, we're not going to hear the case. That's it.
Mr. Chairman, as well as Mr. Mariconda, when any revisions or changes are made and sent to the secretary, if they're sent electronically, ask the secretary if she can forward it or you can forward it to me at the same time. Get the clearance from her so that you know why? I was in her office yesterday and she's got papers piled to the ceiling. And just what she emailed me today, this morning, was the revision, the second revision. I have the third, but this is a fourth. So, now you see, she could have been confused or just thought she handed me the fourth revision when she handed me the third. So,
I'll be glad to follow that procedure, Mr. Paparazzi. I know you and I have discussed this issue before, and we're going to do whatever we can to make it easier for the planning staff. I'm fully aware, as you are, about the high volume of work that's pending in that office, both zoning and planning board. I am more aware of it than probably anybody except someone that works for the city.
Except for, because now the plans are electronic, all you gotta do is click a button, and so I think you have to send them to the hard copies to Maggie, but I think when you send the hard copies to Maggie, the electronic one can go to her and me at the time.
I'll be very glad to do that. I always bring in the CD as well.
Yes.
As long as she gives me the clearance, I'm ready.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that, but I like to keep track of everything. This was just slip through the, through the crack, because usually I'm very attentive to this.
Now, you have paperwork
The
up to
only
the
thing is
ceiling.
that I didn't get the CD on this. So, with all my apologies, I don't know what else to say, but Mr. Maricon and I can address this tomorrow in my office.
We can work whatever needs to be done in that sense.
Were you able to find out from any of the objectors?
I just called one, but then I'm calling the second one.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to be clear on the record that when we were on the record last time, when this matter was carried to today's date, we did advise that we were reducing the number of units and revised plans would be submitted. So if any objectors were on the phone at that time, they would have heard that as well.
When was that meeting, Mr. Mariconda?
Let me check back on that date. May, I believe it was.
And I got a revision May 28th. So I also thought that was the revision.
From the first planner's letter.
That was from your first review letter. Maybe I'm off on that date. I'll double check it.
Okay, because there were four revisions. So,
It may have been early June. Let me see. But in any event, this was clearly the last revision where there was a 50% reduction in the number of units.
Right, when Maggie sent me the revision from October of 2019, and I saw I had one from May, I thought I had the latest one, because it was the end of May, So
Understood.
that's why I said to you, I have everything.
Right.
No, Maggie.
Yes, Chairman.
48.
We're not going to hear this case.
Okay,
Find the earliest date possible for this case. It's until we get everything straightened out. Just find a new date for this case, please.
We're here subject to whatever the board decides.
Yeah, we're not gonna hear Mr. Mariconda. I'm sorry about that, but
Understood.
we all have to be on the same page.
Okay,
I have, trying to figure this out here. I do have an opening October 22nd. That's the earliest possible, Mr. Mariconda.
Yeah, I know there's a case on October 8th. I know there's a carried case with objectors on October 8th, which we haven't officially withdrawn or modified, but I understand you can't set a new date there unless that matter is resolved. So, I acknowledge that you're giving us October 22nd, and statutory time requirements are waived through that date.
The matter of 29-36 Canal Street LLC, 29-36 Canal, lot 5509, lot 9, has been carried to October 22nd, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. Thank you.
Meg, will you? Are the other attorneys present?
Yes. Now he is. He called in. Mr. Remiansky?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
Make it loud.
Is the volume satisfactory?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, good.
Can you proceed, sir?
Okay. Mr. Mariconda, can you shut down your screen? Thank you. Mr. Mariansky?
Yes.
The chairman is waiting for you, sir.
Oh, we're ready to begin?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Chairman, Mark Mariansky on behalf of the applicant, Goldie Summer. I apologize for the confusion, but this is my first remote board meeting, so we're not adept at this procedure. I have the applicant here with me, Goldie Summer, prepared to testify, and we have our engineer, Mr. Alfred Stewart, who is, I believe, is present online.
Yes, I am.
Is your client physically with you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And usually we want to see the applicant, but you'll put the representation as your client.
Who's going to be the first witness, sir?
My client, the applicant.
Okay.
May we proceed?
Erlen, you would like to swear her in, please?
Sure.
Yes.
Give me 1 second. Please raise your right hand.
Yes, I am.
I can't see you, but do you swear affirm the testimony? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? The record.
Goldie C. Summer.
And counsel, just for the record, that was your client, and your client was raising her hand during while she was being sworn in.
Yes, she raised her right hand, and we're sitting in the same office here. She's right next to me.
Thank you very much.
Before I begin, Mr. Chairman, I would like to point out, our engineer has pointed out to me this evening there was an error on the zoning information on the site plan. We do require an additional variance for the rear yard setback that's proposed. We showed on the zoning legend the rear yard setback required is 20 feet. It's actually tells me 25 feet, and we are proposing 20 feet. So we do have an additional bulk variance. Now, I'd like to begin with the applicant, if we can proceed.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Summer, are you the applicant in connection with this application?
Yes, I am.
And you are the contract purchaser of the property from the current owner, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And the purchase is contingent upon you obtaining approval of this application from the board?
Yes.
Now, from your dealings with the owner of the property in connection with buying the property, have you become familiar with the history of this property?
Yes, based on what the owner has told me.
And could you provide a little of that history for the board, please?
The owner of the property bought this property somewhere around 2005. It was a two-family house and had tenants in it. Sometime after 2005, there was a fire on the premises. The tenants were removed, and from what I understand, the damage from the fire was corrected. The owner told me that the fire inspector had come over and that was taken care of. The owner then decided that he wanted to enhance the property, and he proposed an addition to the property in the back. After that, he made his application. The house was erroneously demolished with the foundation by the city of Paterson. I don't know the exact dates, but sometime thereafter, the owner made an application to the board for, I believe he was making an application for a three-family house, and the board had him change that to a two-family house. He subsequently got approval, and a resolution was passed to put up a two-family house.
Okay, well, and now obviously the owner never built that approved two-family since the property remains vacant, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And do you know any idea why that two-family was never built?
I believe it had to do with the economy at the time. The real estate market had changed, and I don't think he wanted to move forward at that time.
And as a result of that, the previous approval has expired.
Yes, it expired.
And that's why you're making this application, correct?
Correct, yes.
Is this application essentially the same as the one that was approved previously?
It is essentially the same, yes.
All right. Now, you're a builder, is that correct?
I've been a licensed builder for 35 years.
Approximately how many buildings have you built in that time?
I put up about 60 residential properties and 2 commercial.
Now, the floor plans and the elevation drawings that were submitted with this application are for a modular building, is that correct?
That's correct, built by a company called Zora Built.
Are you familiar with the plans?
Very, yes.
You've used similar plans before?
I've used Zora Built in a number of my houses, yes.
So you're comfortable with your experience as a builder with referring to the plans and describing what you're proposing with the floor plans?
Yes, I am.
All right, could you refer to the first sheet, sheet 2, labeled first floor plan layout?
Yes.
And describe for the board what is shown on the plan.
This is street level. I would call it ground floor. It contains a 2-car garage, and when I was making the plan for this, I thought it would be good to add a additional living space, which would be accessible to only the second floor apartment. I put a family room, bedroom, and a bathroom. And also furnace. I understand that there might be a question that this could be converted into another apartment, so I would have no problem removing the bedroom and just making a large family room or playroom with the bathroom.
And that would be used only by the second floor apartment?
Yes, access is only by the second floor.
And that access...
Excuse me, Mr. Mariansky, can you please ask your client or to put up the plans for the public and the objectors?
Okay, so you were not able to, because I sent them in and I requested that you could post it. We'll try to do it, but again,
No, I emailed them to the commissioners, but I don't post the plans. I explained that to you. I can have my...
Sir, look, sir, if you could email it to me, I could probably help you, unless you can get it to IT.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
I can do that. That's what I was
because
saying.
because they're not on computer, they're on phone, so there's no way for them to share it.
That's correct. So, while he's talking, I will see about getting on. Thank you. Oh, great.
So I corrected, you're going to try to get them posted?
Yeah, I did, yes.
We wait for that to be done?
Proceed, sir. Proceed, sir. Go ahead.
Proceed? Okay. All right, now the access this summer to the living area on the ground floor is through one of the two garages, is that correct?
That's correct.
And the other garage would not be able to directly access that living space, right?
No, they would not.
So, and how would that other garage get to the third floor apartment?
There's a side door on the garage. They could go out the side door and go right up the stairs, which is right nearby.
Through the entrance on the side?
The entrance, yes.
So there are the two garages, each garage will be assigned to one of the apartments and have separate access into the units.
That's correct.
So let's now turn to...
Sir, this is the planner. Mr. Mariansky. I'm Barry Paparosi, the planner. My plan shows one single two-car garage. It's not separated. It's not separated with a wall where two people can use it. It can only be used by one family. It's not two separate garages like you just alluded to.
All right. Well, we can. That was the plan. That was the intent, to make it separate garages.
Okay. Well, then the architect's plan has to change because, quite frankly, you can't have two different tenants sharing the same garage, and that's how it's shown on the plan. And then both tenants would have access to that additional space in behind the garage, which is right now, which is a bedroom, a family room, and a full bathroom. So, quite frankly, there has to be an adjustment made on that because certainly it looks like a third apartment to me.
Well, the applicant testified we would remove the bedroom and make it one large room, a family room or playroom.
Okay.
Remove the bedroom, and we would also separate the two garage. Putting a wall up there to separate the two garages.
Well, quite frankly, you don't need a full bathroom. You have two full bathrooms on each floor. Now you're saying that the one tenant has three full bathrooms, which also is suspect to a third apartment, because there is no way to police putting up the wall again for the bedroom, and then it's an interior work and it's equipment. Right now you have two full baths on your architect's plan on each floor, and two full ones. So now this apartment has three.
We can make that a powder room, make it a half bath.
Yes, I would suggest that would have to be the case if you want a positive vote, because quite frankly, that certainly looks like a third apartment.
Mr. Paparosi, excuse me, gentlemen. Mr. Mariansky, you never emailed me the plans. I've looked, so did the IT technician. I don't have them. You continue speaking, Mr. Paparosi, but the public, how can I
Can we do that now?
If you want to do it now, yes, but the more you speak, the public is not hearing it. You're not getting the idea of the architectural aspect of it. But if Mr. Thaxton, if I may ask a question, Chairman Thaxton?
Excuse me, what was that, Maggie?
I needed to ask you a question, sir. A few commissioners need a minute break just for a few seconds to.
Oh, yes.
Can you give me while they're stretching their legs? May I have 5 minutes to post them?
Yes, we're going to take a 5-minute recess.
Thank you. I apologize, Mr. Paparazzi, for interrupting.
That's fine, all right.
All right. So now, where do we intend to email the plans?
Sir, we're going to take a 5-minute break.
Mr. Mariansky, you emailed them to me, mvega@patersonnj.gz.
That's what I intended to do that earlier. We did send them, and you apparently
I did not get them. I did not get them, sir.
Did you get them from? I tried to send it to you and it failed, and the applicant Goldie Summer tried to send it also. It will be GC Summer 1 at Yahoo.
Gary, Excuse me. Gary?
Yes, Chairman. Yes, Chairman, I'm sorry. Yes, Chairman.
Do you have to, and Maggie, you don't have any plans at all? Mag?
We're on a break, aren't we? I think she went on a break.
No, I am here. I'm just
Okay.
trying to get some here. I'm trying, Mr. Mariansky, give me 1 second, sir.
Yeah.
That's all right, that's it.
Are we taking a break so I can get up for a minute?
Yeah, we are.
What's your email address?
And it'll come out. There it is. Oh, wait.
No, here.
That's it.
Excuse me, this is Fred Stewart, the engineer. I can probably show the plans.
Oh, that'd be great.
That was sent. Oh, is he up? He may be up. It went through. Look, thank you.
Let's see how I can do this.
There it is. I sent her the plans. She got them. The exhibit. Well,
Can everyone see the plan now?
We're on a break, so you just
Yes.
hold off.
all right, thank you. They are a little light, but maybe it's so they can't see.
I believe that's the copy.
This is Mark Ruffalo objected. The plans are 21 megabytes, so that could be an issue.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, they are. You sure you don't want to get them on for me?
We just sent them again.
Fred. Ask Fred if you can, yes. Yeah, you have it, that's fine, because what you're sending me are exhibits, they're not, the architectural plan. If you are sending the architectural plan, it may be too large for my, computer capacity, that's why.
It is a large file, yes.
But this is fine, this is great, thank you very much, and I apologize for the inconvenience.
They're up on the screen now, so they've been posted.
Yes.
Let me come back. Hey, Fred, can you hear me?
Yes.
You can? Fred?
Yes, I hear you.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. You posted the plans, right?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Save the day.
It is a very large file. It's hard to email.
Okay. Well, as I said, my expertise is not online, obviously.
Okay, Maggie, can you call the roll, make sure all the commissioners are back? Maggie, are you there? Meg, are you there? Maggie, are you there?
Mr. Chairman, she's still on mute, so I assume that she is not there yet. This is Gary Paterson.
Are we ready, everyone?
We're just waiting for you.
Josh, I was trying to get everything for you. I am back now, sir.
Thank you. Are you ready?
Yes, we're ready to proceed. Right. Just to reiterate, Mr. Chairman, now that the plans are up on the board, up on the screen, the ground floor level plan, which is up on the screen, the applicant has agreed, as per Mr. Paterson, to put a wall between the two garages to separate them, to eliminate the bedroom in the rear of the garage, and to convert the full bath into a half bath. So that the access to that living area will be only from one of the garages for the second floor apartment. And the other garage would access the stairwell from the entrance, leaving the garage on the side door and then going through the entrance on the side to the third floor apartment. And with that, I'd like to go to the next sheet, which is the second floor plan layout, sheet 2.1. Yes, let's move it. All right, Ms. Summer. Now we're turning to the second floor plan layout. Can you describe the floor plan for the board?
Yes. This is a two-bedroom, two-bath unit. Has a private washing machine and washer-dryer closet. It has a kitchen with a dining area and a living room, an open design.
And what are the size of the bedrooms?
The size of the bedrooms are 101 square feet for bedroom 2 and approximately 217 square feet for the master bedroom or bedroom 1.
And it includes 2 full baths?
Yes.
And walk-in closet?
Correct.
And what's the total living area for this second floor apartment?
1,200 square feet.
And that does not include the ground floor space, which would be used in conjunction with this apartment?
Correct.
About how much space on the ground level would be available?
I believe it's approximately 760 square feet.
That's including the stairwell?
Yes, including the stairwell, yes.
All right. Now, if we go to the sheet 2.2, which is the third floor layout. Not quite up yet. We're going down. You have the ground floor layout on the screen, and we need the third floor apartment. No, that's the site plan.
Oh, there we go, right?
Here we go. Okay.
That's the second floor, I think, isn't it? Yes, that's the second floor. I need the third. Let's do one more.
One more sheet down. Oh, that's back to the ground floor. Site plan. Here. I think that's the second floor. The ground floor again. That looks like it.
That's it.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Oh, no. Yes, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. All right.
Okay.
So you describe the layout on the third floor plan, please.
Yeah, this is a two-bedroom, two-bath unit. On this one, I had to flip the washer and dryer to the opposite side, and I put the furnace and hot water heater where on the second floor where the dryer and washer were. So I had to flip that. This also has a kitchen, dining room, and living room.
And those are about the same as on the second floor?
It's about 1,200 square feet, same as this.
And what are the size of the bedrooms on the third floor?
Bedroom number 2 on the third floor is about 96, 97 square feet. Bedroom number 1, the master bedroom, is 185 square feet.
So they're a little smaller than the second floor apartment because of the realigning of the washer and dryer,
yes.
Right? And again, how many square feet of total living area?
Approximately 1,200.
So same as the second floor apartment?
Yes.
And why the size of the apartments that you have proposed?
Well, economically, we needed to put 2 bedrooms in each floor, and we felt that it would probably be a family that would move in here, at least a family with a child. And it made sense to do a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. I know that the owner had, in the past, when he made his application, I believe he made an application with 3 very small bedrooms. The board was not happy with that, and so I made the bedrooms larger, but reduced them to 2 bedrooms on each floor.
All right, now if we return to sheet 4, that's the front and rear elevation. There we go.
Yes.
Okay, could you describe what we see here?
We're looking at the front elevation, which will have 2 separate garage doors, and you can see the stairs on the side of the house, and the large windows, which will face the front. That's for the floor 2 and floor 3.
Those are triple windows?
Triple, yes.
And also, then we have the rear elevation.
The rear elevation also has, well, these are double windows, but there will be windows on each level.
Okay, all right, let's go to the next sheet. Sheet 4.1, which is the right elevation.
This is the side of the house that will give entrance into the units. This was the this made the most sense to put it on the side, because if we put it in the front, we would lose a parking space. And we thought it was much more beneficial to have 2 off-site parking, 2 on-site parking spots. And also, in front of the parking spots, each level will have assigned parking, so it'll be sort of like a tandem, but two parking spaces for each unit. And so we put the entrance on the side so that we could get the parking on site.
And this elevation, right side elevation, shows the 1 garage door accessing the entrance, correct?
That's correct.
And then you have windows on that side?
Yes.
All right, let's go to sheet 4.2, left side elevation. And what do we have here?
The left side elevation faces a commercial building. I believe it's the administration for the school uses it, and we put no windows on that side. That side of the house is also closer to the property line. And so after talking to the architect for the modular company, we put no windows on that side.
Okay. And if approved, you said this would be a modular building, right?
This will be a modular building, yes.
I have no further questions of Ms. Summer.
Gary. Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Mariansky, am I to understand that Ms. Summer is answering for the architect? The architect is not.
Yes, these are modular plans.
Yes, this modular company has its engineer, architect that's right in-house and its own set crew. So when we come up with a plan, and I actually worked out the floor plan with them, they prepare these plans for me. You probably know that when modular plans when they're sealed, they're actually sealed by the state. And then I turn them into the buildings, the building department to go through the whole process. So they have their own architect and engineer, and so he's not my personal architect, but he is the architect that works for Durabuilt.
So then,
these are not right. They're not sealed.
There are changes. They'll be sealed after they're finalized, correct, by the board?
That's correct.
okay. So then, you are proposing 4 parking spaces, then you're parking in front. Is that not correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so you eliminate that variance for parking, but you added one for no front yard parking is permitted in the residential zone. So you lose one and you gain one. Okay, so if the plan is to be approved, the architect has to show the change on the front elevation there, showing 2 garage doors. Show the wall on the basement floor, and the elimination of the full bath or powder room, and the elimination of the bedroom. So
that's correct.
It's a a legitimate two-family dwelling. Okay? There's no issue with that, right?
No.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have for Ms. Summer.
Thank you.
Maggie, is there another lawyer there?
Yes, we unmute him, Mr. Ruffalo. Ruffalo, I think it is.
Yeah, I'm here, thank you.
Oh, you are, great, thank you. You may proceed with the showing.
Sure, Mr. Summers, can you tell me about the side yard setbacks, please? Side yard setbacks.
Side yard setbacks? Hold on a second. Let me get the site plan.
I believe the engineer is going to testify.
Mr. Chairman, we have the engineer, he's going to testify at the site plan, that would be better for him to answer, I believe.
Yeah, but she's testifying as an architect tonight, so I think she can answer that.
No, she's not, she's a builder.
Okay. This is Gary Paparosi. I have questions for the, and I will go over the variances with the engineer, and when that site plan comes up, sir.
Right.
Okay, so I'll move on beyond that question. So, Mr. Summers, you said you're familiar with the history of the neighborhood, correct?
No, I'm familiar with the history of this particular property.
Okay, so tell me about your neighbor to your right, please.
I have no idea who he is.
Okay, so you're not that familiar then, are you?
I'm familiar with the history of this property only.
Okay. Have you did any diligence to your neighbor to your right?
I was told by the, I was told by the owner of the property.
Mrs. Summers, I'm going to ask you what you told. Did you have any diligence with your neighbor to your right? Did you ever have any conversations with your neighbor to your right?
I did not.
Okay, you don't know him, correct?
I know of him, but I don't know him, no.
You never talked to him, correct?
No, I never did.
Okay, and your proposed dwelling is how far from his existing dwelling?
I think the engineer could testify to that.
Right, well, she should be able to testify that she's the applicant. Mrs. Summers, how far is your dwelling from your neighbor's dwelling? If you don't know, that's fine.
My neighbor's property?
Yes.
Hold on, let me take a look. Hold on a second, I'm looking. That's why I have my engineer here. I don't know why you're asking me these questions.
I think that's more of an appropriate question for the engineer. She didn't testify to it. Your questions really should be directed to her testimony. And if you have a specific question as to if she feels the property is too close to the neighbor, ask that question. You made it clear she doesn't know the neighbor, she doesn't know the neighborhood, she just knows this property. If you have a specific question as to your client, just ask the question.
Sure, Mrs. Summers, what buffer have you planned for your neighbor to your right, if any?
Buffer? No, I wasn't saying a buffer, but there is greenery, there's trees that separate the property.
All right, did you plan to put up any trees?
You can put in trees.
Oh, if the board requires that I put up trees, I'll put up trees.
Ma'am, that's not my question. The question was, did you plan to put up any trees?
No, I did not plan to put any trees up.
Al, are you still there?
Huh?
Counsel?
Yes. Oh, I'm here, you're not.
Do you have any other questions that you want to ask the applicant?
We lost him. I think his call cut out. Maggie, can we see if he's still here or not?
Yes, he's there, hello? He was here. Can you call out his name and see if he answers you, Mr. Walker?
Mr. Ruffalo, right?
Yes.
Charlene.
He's not there.
Call Susan, that's what she wants with me. Yeah, she's on the
I have them back on, sir. I have them back on.
Okay, I'm here.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Summers, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Mr. Summers, okay, who's your neighbor to the left?
The neighbor to the left is a commercial property, a building that I believe is occupied by administrators that work for the school system.
Okay, and did you look at the neighborhood to see how many other houses in the neighborhood had garages in their front?
No, I did not.
Okay. And did you consider moving the entrance to the second floor from the left, from the right side of the house to the left side of the house?
There's much less property, I believe, on the left-hand side than the right.
Okay.
This is much closer to the property line on the left.
All right, and did you consult, or did your attorney consult the fire marshal concerning your 1.5 foot proposed side yard entrance?
I did not.
Okay, do you know if your attorney did?
No, I did not.
Okay, you can confirm that 1.5 foot is 18 inches, correct? Mrs. Summers?
Yes. Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
All right. And is there any reason why the entrance to this existing home could not be situated to the left of the property rather than to the right?
We're trying to maintain what was approved before. That's why I put it this way. This plan, this building, not this particular, but the owner had an approved plan for the building, and I try to follow that footprint.
I understand that. I understand. Do you understand your neighbor to the right side is disabled?
No, I don't know that.
And do you understand his property is only 7 foot from your property line?
Okay?
Okay, he has great concerns about what's going on here. And if there's a fire, how the fire officials will be able to access 1.5 feet on a property line. I have no further questions.
Question or a statement?
Is that a statement or a question?
That's my final statement. Thank you.
Okay, any commissioners have questions?
Before we open to the public, I have a question for the attorney or the applicant, I should say. Do you think it makes sense for maybe a conversation with the attorney for the objector and your engineer?
I don't know if there's any, benefit to that based on questions I just heard.
Well, and again, I fully appreciate the fact that you're utilizing what has been approved, but is there a potential it could be modified to accommodate those concerns?
So he's suggesting we basically flip the house so that the entrance is on the other side?
I'm not suggesting anything. You heard a concern from an objector. Again, I understand that you just followed what was approved, and I fully appreciate that. But it seemed like a legitimate concern that's being raised, and I don't know your property, and I don't know if it's feasible to accommodate that concern. Only you and the engineer would know that.
Can I interject for a second?
Absolutely. Again, you don't have to take what I'm saying. I'm just asking.
No, I wanted to just make something clear. I just came into this property, signed the contract with the owner. The owner has told me when he was making his application that the objector showed up to every meeting. He tried to work with the owner. He offered to buy his property and build him a unit. He had agreed, and then the last minute said no. So he has been involved with this application process from a long time ago. And I wasn't surprised that he was coming to object because he objected for every meeting that the current owner had.
Listen, that's fine. So then the short answer is, it doesn't make sense to continue conversation. You're not required to, it's just a thought.
Okay.
So I apologize, Chairman. I think you're asking if any commissioners have questions.
Any commissioners have any questions? You can call your next witness.
Before we do that, let me just make sure there's nobody else. Yeah, hold on a second.
I do have a caller, so when you open it to the public, I will have the caller get on until the other person gets on as well. Thank you.
Perfect. To the members of the public, if you have questions of the applicant, specific to the applicant's testimony, it's not the time to make statements or give comments. It's simply, if you have questions, please call 973-321-1579 and enter meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Once again, 973-321-1579, and you'll enter meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Let's deal with the caller who is on now, that member of the public, and we'll see if anybody else calls.
Yes, Mr. LaRocca. The gentleman is Mr. Ben Branch, B-R-A-N-C-H. Mr. Branch, are you there, sir?
I am here.
Thank you, Mr. LaRocca.
Branch, do you have questions of this applicant?
I do. I only have two questions, but just for the record, I'm actually an attorney and I represent the other neighboring property, which is the property owner of the building that's leased to the school district. And my last name is Branch, B-R-A-N-C-H-E.
What was your first name, sir?
Benjamin? Ben?
And what's the property of your client and your client's name?
172-202 Sheridan Avenue.
All right, thank you.
My client expected him.
Mr. LaRocca, this is Jonathan Hodges. I'm wondering whether or not I should be sitting in on this case.
Why is that?
The objector is school building, or being by the school building, who apparently is appearing as an objector, and I'm wondering whether or not I should be recusing myself.
Which one is the school building? This objector here now?
Yes. He's the owner of a building that's used by the school building, apparently.
And so in your function as a member of the Board of Ed,
that's right.
Potentially could be a conflict. We have 7 commissioners without Commissioner Hodges, is that correct?
Yes,
Secretary?
that's correct. Yes, sir.
I think it's probably most prudent that you do step down.
Okay.
And you have a nice evening, because actually, do we need him for the minutes in the resolution?
I'm sorry, say that again, sir?
Do we need Commissioner Hodges before he leaves? Do we need him for the minutes and resolution?
I will check, sir. Hold on.
Oh, hold on a second, Commissioner.
No?
No, he was not present for this meeting, for this, application.
All right. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, counsel, go ahead, please.
Thank you. I have one question at this point, and the question deals with the traffic situation and the parking. Has your attorney or you had any contact with the fire marshal with regard to concerns regarding fire trucks or anything else coming down that street and additional cars being parked in that area?
No.
And just, I'm sorry, I didn't fully understand the parking situation. Can you just walk through that one more time? Because the way I understood it, there was going to be 2 parking spaces.
And I'm sorry to make you
Yes,
repeat
there are
it
two
again, but I just want to
parking
be clear.
spaces and two in the garage.
Okay.
There'll be a total of 4 cars, so there'll be 2 inside the garage and 2 in the driveway in front of the garage.
Yes, Mr. Branch, Gary Paparosi, there is no parking variance.
Okay, so the notice is incorrect in reflecting that there was a request for a variance for parking.
I didn't see the
variance
notice.
is for front yard parking. You hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. I'm just trying to look at the notice again.
Mr. Branch,
Specifically, sorry.
Mr. Branch, Gary Paparosi, there was a parking variance because the garage was not separated. You can't share one garage with, so there was one, and they eliminated it by dividing the garage. So they added a front yard setback for parking in the front yard, but they eliminated the parking variance when they divided the garage. What the plans show didn't show that, so there was one. But they agreed to change those plans to eliminate the parking variance.
Is that going to result in a widening of the building? Or is there enough space for 2 cars in there as it is?
Yeah, a parking space is 9 feet, 9 and 9 is 18, the building is 20. So, and that's a parking space. So a garage is usually a little smaller, so that's plenty of room.
Okay, thank you. Separate, one more question. Has there been any experts engaged involving drainage issues, because that drains down to the Molly Ann Brook and
our engineer will discuss the drainage.
Council, I think that's more appropriate for the engineer.
I'm just wondering if he addressed that issue.
Understood.
Thank you.
I'm sorry?
No further questions.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I'll wait for the engineer. No further questions.
Madam Secretary, anybody else calling?
Yes, sir, 1 moment, please. Hi, his name is Mr. Anthony Stasio. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Mr. LaRocca?
Sir, can you state your address on the record?
173 Albion Avenue.
All right. Do you have questions of the applicant?
Well, you know, that letter said there's going to be a 3-story building?
But can I ask the applicant?
Yes, that's correct.
So it's going to be like 3 family, right?
2 family. The first floor is for parking and a space that will be connected to the second floor apartment. So there's 2 apartments, 2 family.
Okay. Well, I mean, the people on that, the traffic on that block is ridiculous as it is, right? So, you know, you bring in, there's extra cars, but I'm behind that, right?
Wait, sir. At the very end, if you want to give a statement, you can call back in. Right now, if you have a question. If you have a question, ask the question.
Well, my question is, that building, right, it's built, it'll be looking down into our property, and we've got a lot of flooding. And the other thing is, there's a lot of
Where's the
flooding.
question? Sir, where's the question? That sounds like a statement. You have a question, ask the question, you'll have the opportunity to call back. That's not a question.
Okay, I guess the question is, what are you gonna do about the drainage problem that we already have from that property?
Again, the engineer is going to testify next as to drainage.
They're gonna offer testimony as to drainage when the engineer, testifies. And if he doesn't answer those questions, you have additional questions, you could ask him. You have any questions of the applicant other than that?
No.
All right, and then again, you'll have an opportunity again to ask the engineer and then speak at the end. Please move on. Please move on.
Mr. Stasio, are you still there, sir?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, please stay on the line. I'll just mute you. When we come back, I'll put you back on, okay, sir?
Okay, yeah, do that, please.
Thank you. And Mr. Branch as well? Okay?
I am still on, I was muted.
Okay, I will leave you on in case you have any questions, sir, okay?
Thank you.
You may proceed.
Are we done with the board? You have two questions from the public?
Oh, yes, witness.
Yes, Mr. LaRocca, that's all the public.
All right, I'd like to call our engineer, Mr. Alfred Stewart.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, hold on 1 second.
Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
State your full name for the record.
Alfred Stewart, S-T-E-W-A-R-T, professional engineer and land surveyor.
Thank you.
Mr. Stewart, could you give the board your qualifications as an engineer?
Sure, I've been practicing surveying and engineering in the state of New Jersey for approximately 35 years. I graduated County College of Morris with a certificate in surveying in 1986. Received my land surveyor's license from the state of New Jersey in 1991. Received my bachelor's of science from NJIT in 1996. I was licensed as a civil engineer in 1999 from the state of New Jersey. I've been practicing my own business since the year 2000 and testified before numerous boards throughout northern New Jersey, including this board, numerous times.
Your license is currently active?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Chairman, I'd offer Mr. Stewart as an expert engineer.
We accept his credentials.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart, you were retained by the applicant to prepare the site plan submitted in connection with this application consisting of 2 sheets, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you also prepared a survey of this property that was dated April 29th, 2005, which is shown on the site plan and labeled existing conditions, is that correct?
That's correct. That's on the left-hand side of the drawing.
All right, and that depicts the condition, the improvements that were on the property, that most of which have since been demolished, particularly the two-story dwelling that's shown there, correct?
That's correct.
That was the previous two-family home that was on the property.
Yes.
Could you describe for the board, compare what was on the property previously and what's being proposed?
Sure. Again, referring to the existing conditions plan that has since been demolished, there's a 2-story dwelling that's located basically from about halfway back to the front of the property, this area here. That dwelling was actually 0.65 feet off the left-hand side property line, which is approximately 8 inches only. On the other sideline, the building was located 3.69 feet, which is about 3 feet 8 inches off the right-hand property line. The building was also located at 8.5 feet off the right-of-way line to the building itself. There was a front porch on there that was approximately 4 feet wide, which would have left you about 4.5 feet to the front porch. There was, of course, a concrete sidewalk leading up to the back, excuse me, and also a concrete patio, and behind that patio was a shed that was located on the property.
And that was a two-family dwelling, correct?
That's correct. That was a 2-family dwelling that has since been demolished.
Okay. Could you compare that to over?
Sure. Comparing that to what we're proposing, which is on the right-hand side, I'll just slide that over a little bit. The proposal is to have a 3-story, 2-family dwelling with a 2-car garage located on the front portion of the dwelling, as you saw within the architecturals earlier. In front of the 2-car garage, of course, we're going to have a driveway leading up to that, and that's going to be able to have parked there 2 vehicles as well, totaling 4 cars being able to park on the property, removing them from the street. If you were to just leave the curb line where it is without parking on the property, you would only be able to have probably 1 stall or 1 parking stall in front of this property. It is only 25 feet wide, and that would only produce, say, 1 or 1.5 stalls located in front of the property, keeping in mind that there is paid parking right adjacent to our lot, which is located on that commercial property next door. That's this area right here. And this is the outline of the brick building and an overhang right in that section there. So, based on this, our front yard will be at 20 feet, which is what's required. Our left-hand side yard is going to be at 1.5 feet, where 4 feet is required. Our right-hand side yard is going to be at 3.5 feet. And if you combine the 2 side yards, you're supposed to have 14 feet. We're going to be at 5 feet total. Our rear yard, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Now, those totals, however, are an improvement over what was previously there, correct?
That's correct. If I just go back to the existing conditions, 0.65 was on the left-hand side, which is half as much as what we're proposing. 3.69 is on the right-hand side, and we're right about the same distance there. We're at 3.5 feet. It's basically 2 inches shorter or closer to that sideline. So in doing this, we're trying to keep or mimic what was there once before, keeping it tight to the left-hand sideline and keeping the area or open air on the right-hand sideline. Also on the right-hand side.
The front yard, you said, the front yard is an improvement as well, correct?
That's correct. We're at 20 feet proposed, which is the required setback, and previously it was at 8.5 feet to the house or 4.5 feet to the porch.
Okay. And the previous structure provided no on-site parking.
That's correct. There was no parking whatsoever on that previous condition.
Right. So we have, now we're proposing 4 on-site parking spaces, and as you pointed out, eliminating 1 street space, so it's a net gain of 3 on-site parking spaces.
That's correct, and we remove them from the street.
Right, that's 3 off-street parking spaces, net gain.
Net gain, yes.
Now, I pointed out earlier that there was a discrepancy on the rear yard proposal, on the zoning legend on your plan, correct?
That's correct. We did have a typo on our rear yard. On the drawing, it actually states 25. In the zoning schedule, it does state 20. We are proposing a 20-foot rear yard. Required is 25, so that's an additional variance that we have on that site as well.
Okay, so just the variances that we're proposing, though, each one, we're talking about, we have a lot coverage variance, correct?
That's correct. Required is at 40%, and we are at 48.8%. Reason being, we are providing a garage, which will provide, parking off street. That's part of the reason why we have that coverage variance.
We have front yard parking, parking in the front yard setback. That's also to provide the off-street parking, correct?
That's correct.
Now, the side yards, although we do require variances, as you stated, that's an improvement over what was previously there.
That's correct.
Now, the number of stories, the zone permits 2.5 stories, and we're proposing 3. Is that right?
Actually, they permit 3 stories.
The zone permits 3 stories?
Yes.
All right. And we don't need that variance. All right. And, of course, we need the lot area and the lot width do not comply with the ordinance, but those are existing, correct?
That's existing non-conforming condition, yes.
And there's no land available to increase the size of this lot?
No, there is not.
All right, so is it fair to say that all the variances that are being requested are a function of the undersized nature of the lot and from the proposed garage to provide the off-street parking spaces?
Yeah, that is fair to say, yes.
Now, this proposed two-family is in greater compliance, as you pointed out, with the zoning ordinance than the previous building, the structure that was there.
Yes, it is. The side yards are
And that's
done.
as to the front yard setback, the side yard setbacks, and the parking.
Correct.
Now, could you address the proposed drainage for the site that's come up? A number of questions were raised. Could you address that, please?
Sure. Basically, topography is running from south to north, which is across the property. And previously, the house was constructed towards the front of the property. Now, what we are proposing, of course, pushing the home back, and we are going to tie our roof leaders into a proposed drywall system, which is going to be located underneath the driveway in the front of the property. So as you can see where the shaded building is being proposed, all that runoff we are taking and directing back to the front of the property into the dry wells, which are designed in accordance with the city standards. And previously, that was not the case. As you can see, the runoff did go direct towards the back of the property. So we are actually taking 75% of the property and redirecting it to the front of the lot towards Sheridan Ave into the dry wells. And if those ever overflow, there is a proposed manhole grate located on one of them. So it does overflow. If there's a storm event, that's great. It will overflow and go directly into Sheridan Ave and down the gutter line. So again, that's a huge improvement as far as the drainage system would go as compared to existing today.
Okay, and so would this proposed development increase the runoff from this site?
No, it will not. It will decrease because of the drywall system.
Okay. Now, you were the engineer for the owner of the property at the time of the previous application for the two-family dwelling back in 2012, is that correct?
That's correct.
And that application was approved by this board?
That's correct.
And was it essentially the same as what we're proposing now?
Yes.
And the board at that time felt that the proposed use would not negatively affect the surrounding area?
Yes.
And the board also found that that application would advance one or more of the purposes of zoning found in the municipal land use law, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
And that was incorporated into the resolution of approval for that application?
Yes, it was.
I have no further questions of this witness.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Stewart, on your proposed layout, you indicate 25 feet off the rear, and you alluded to the fact that it should be 20.
That's correct.
The code is 20, so there is no variance. Okay?
I'm sorry, I picked up on your schedule that it was 25, and I stand corrected.
Yeah, two-family and one-family, it's 20, and the R3 zone for two-family reverts back to the two-family zone. But it is 20, so that is not a variance. Additionally, the side setbacks, because these are changes you have to make on your zoning chart. The side setback for lots, there is consideration for lots under 37 feet. And so the side setback for one is 3 feet, and for both is 11. So although they are variances, they are not as encumbrance as you indicated on your plan. And obviously, 3 stories is allowed. Now, also on your zoning chart, lot coverage is for building only. So your building is 20 by 60. That's 48%, not 48.8. So it is over, it is a variance, but it's less, again, than what you have shown on your plan.
Okay.
So now,
I'm sorry to interrupt. I included the overhang on the porch on the side. Is that correct, or should that not be included?
only the front porch enclosure is, or roof covered porch in front is included.
Okay, so I can remove the overhang for the porch as far as the coverage goes.
Yes. So I have for the variances, I have your maximum lot coverage, which is 40, and you have 48%. Your zoning chart has to change. Side setback for one is 3 feet, and you're proposing 1.5, so you'll need another change. Side setback for both is 11 feet, you're proposing 5, so you have another change there. You also have to change your 2.5 story, which you already indicated, 3 is the actual number for stories which is permitted. And then you have to add your variance, no front yard parking permitted in your zone, and you're proposing front yard parking.
Okay.
So those are changes you have to make on your site plan. Now,
Correct.
just to be clear, and to be clear for the people that are calling, all the water, the runoff from the proposed house is going to be funneled into the dry well. And that dry well has a capacity for the building that is 20 by 60. That is correct, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So that runoff is entirely consumed, the building is entirely consumed by the proposed dry well for the building. All right. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have for Mr. Stewart. Obviously, if the plan gets approved, the site plan also has to have changes as well as the architects or the architect's rendition.
Can I just confirm what you just said, or so we're all on the same page? The variances are now just for side yard setback, lot coverage, and the parking in the front yard?
That's right, that's 4 variances.
4 variances?
That's right. Side setback.
The side yards combined and single and combined.
Right, single combined, maximum coverage, and no front yard parking. 4 variances.
Very good.
Okay, Meg can get you a lawyer. Madam Secretary.
Yes, Chairman.
Can you get
The first lawyer.
reach out to the other lawyer?
Okay, one moment, please. Mr. Ruffalo or Mr. Branch?
Start with Mr. Ruffalo, keep it consistent.
He is there, Mr. Ruffalo?
Yes, I can jump in, is that okay?
Go.
Okay. In your professional opinion, do you believe that a 1.5 foot side yard setback is safe?
Sorry, this is Gary Paparosi. I'm not sure who you're addressing the question to.
That's for the engineer.
Oh, okay.
Because the applicant couldn't answer that question. So the engineer must be able to answer that question. Is a 1.5 foot side yard setback safe?
He's on mute.
Yeah, you're muted, Mr. Stewart. You're muted, okay.
Sorry about that.
No?
Okay, in the past, we have actually completed 0 lot lines, where there is no dimension off the lot line. So as far as it being safe, there's certain construction methods that I believe are in place to take care of a distance to the property line being less than 3 feet, if I remember correctly. So that's more of a...
Correct, but if you had an open lot, would you construct a property line at 1.5 feet from the property line?
That's what we're proposing, yes.
Yes or no? Simple question.
Yes, we're proposing that in this situation.
Okay. All right. The regulations now require what for the property lines?
3 foot. 3 foot is the zoning, yes.
Okay.
but this application is 1.5 foot, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there any way you could have designed this house to be within the 4 foot regulation, 3 foot regulation?
Yes, it could have been designed that way, but would it have been practical? I don't believe so. In designing it this way, we have a 20-foot wide house, which is allowing us to have 2 parked vehicles.
Sure, you answered my question, thank you. And is that because you're building a 2-family versus a 1-family?
No. Because basically it's a 20-foot wide home, and that's a feasible dimension for a home, especially when proposing a 2-car garage in the front to house 2 vehicles and keep them off the street.
When this house was designed, was there any reason why the entrance wasn't put on the front of the home?
Yes, because we have a garage in the front.
Okay. In terms of the aesthetics in the neighborhood, how many other houses in the neighborhood have garages in the front?
I did not take account of the neighborhood.
Okay, because maybe there's probably none. Thank you. What type of buffer did you design for your neighbor to the right?
The neighbor to the right actually has his own buffer. There's a chain link fence running down the property line.
Okay, you consider that to be a buffer, sir?
A fence?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
You do?
Yes. Fences act as buffers.
Bushes? You never put up trees or bushes as a buffer?
Yes, we have.
Okay, so a chain link fence is, in your opinion, your professional opinion, that's a buffer.
It acts as a buffer, yes. It does keep, does run around the property line, does act as a buffer, not as much as a screening buffer, but it does act as a buffer.
Okay, you took no consideration to your neighbor to the right, correct?
That's not correct. We are at 3.5 feet off of that boundary line.
What did you do to take consideration to your neighbor to the right?
We kept the building 3.5 feet. Can I answer, please?
Chairman, can counsel let the witness answer the question without interrupting?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So basically, we kept the building, like I stated earlier, in its same typical location as it was previously. So you do have a 3.5 foot offset for the proposal, where previously it was at 3.69 feet, which is similar in nature to those 2 offsets. And we actually tightened up the building with the other. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, but the requirement today is larger than that, correct?
3 foot is minimum, yes. We are at 3.5 on that side.
And you do have something going over the property to the right, correct? Some buffer or some type of screening going over the porch to the right, correct? On the entrance?
There is the porch with an overhang to go over the doorway, yes. I guess that's what you're asking.
Yeah, how close is that to the property line?
0.3 feet.
And how many inches is that, by the way?
That is about 3 5/8 inches.
Okay, and once again, there's no plan for any shrubbery, trees, or anything between the 2 properties?
No, there's not.
Are you familiar with the property across the street, 171-173 Sheridan Avenue?
Not that familiar, no.
Okay. Are you aware that there was a public hearing on June 21st, 2006, where the applicant across the street applied to have a 2-family dwelling, which was denied?
No, I did not know that.
Check the question, it has no relevance.
What about the next question?
When the plans for this property were drawn up, did you consider that the entrance would go to the right or to the left of the property?
As I stated earlier, we're trying to mimic the previous location of the home, being 3.5 feet off the right-hand side and 1.5 feet off the left-hand side, which is very similar to the previous building.
Home to the right.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
How close is the neighbor's home to the right of where the proposed structure is?
If I remember correctly, it's about 7 or 8 feet.
Okay, and who's to the left of you?
That's a commercial building.
Okay. Would there be any consideration of putting an entrance to the right or left, considering one side's residential and one side's commercial?
Is that a question if they would consider it, or if they did consider it?
If they did consider that.
No, we did not. We did not.
Council, can I ask you a question? Maybe we can streamline. Are you asking them now to consider these concessions? Because this is the plan.
Yeah.
This is the plan we have here. So what they consider, what they didn't consider, we're not getting anywhere unless you're trying to figure out if they would consider it now.
If you would consider it now, that would be great.
Marco, excuse me, this is Gary Paparosi, the board planner. If they flip-flop the steps on the other side, on the north side, the building would be 1.5 feet from the property line. Now they're giving the resident 3.5 feet. It's better this way if you're looking to protect.
Yeah, I wasn't even suggesting that they do it or don't do it. I'm just trying to move the questions along. I want to figure out where we're going.
If you're looking to protect the residential, we want to keep the building further away from the property line. This is the plan where it keeps it furthest away from the property line. So this would be the best proposal if you're protecting the resident to the right, to the south.
Okay, the next question, sir.
Is it a necessity that the entrance be on the right side of the property?
Because we're proposing a garage in the front, and because we are keeping the home 3.5 feet off that right-hand side, that's where our entrance would need to be, yes.
But is it a necessity, is the question.
With this proposal, yes.
Okay, but it could be designed that there could be a standard
This question's been asked and answered about 5 different times.
at the front of the property, correct?
What was your question?
That the property could be designed, there could be a standard entrance at the front of the property. Very simple. It's a residential house in Paterson on a busy street with thousands of cars and residential people there, and you got a side entrance. How prevalent is that in Paterson? I withdraw the question. Next question, please. Have you consulted the fire department concerning the 1.5 foot side yard variance?
No, again, that's a that's underneath construction code.
Okay, Mr. Paparotti, have you consulted with the fire department on that?
On construction, I don't, but the normal procedure is to have fire-rated walls during construction. So when it's that close, the building department will ask for the fire-rated walls, usually an hour fire rating time, which is usually double 5/8 sheetrocks. I don't know how it is on the modular, but the concession is made when they do the construction plans to the building department. And the walls will be fire rated because of the closeness to the property line. That's a standard procedure in all new construction, sir.
Okay, because I'm 150 pounds, and if I had fire equipment on, I couldn't make it through that entrance or exit. No further questions, thank you.
Is the other attorney on the line?
That was the next.
Ben Burton.
Is here Mr. Branch? Is here Mr. Branch?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you have any questions for the engineer?
I think actually Mr. Ruffalo covered all of the questions that I had, and I had a number of the same questions, so he covered them. So I have no questions at this time.
Thank you. Do we have the other individual, the other objector on the phone?
That was him, Marco.
No, there was an unrepresented individual too, wasn't there?
Yes. Any commissioners?
I'm getting it,
That's
sir.
what-
Give me 1 second. I'm trying to get his number to unmute him, please. Gentleman has left the meeting.
All right, go ahead, Sharon.
Is there any other question from the, from, okay. If you have any other witnesses, sir?
No, Mr. Chairman, I have no other witnesses.
Okay. Should we open it up for them to make your final statement?
Yes, I'll do that right now. And then we can I'll place it on the record, and then we can have the attorneys place whatever they want on the record. Allow one moment. Maggie, I lost connection on my other device. Can you please read the phone number and the ID number? Members of the public.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Vega is going to place a phone number on the record and the meeting ID number again. If you would like to make any comments or give a statement with regards to this application, you will call and enter the meeting ID. Please go ahead, Heidi.
The number is 973-321-1579. Meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Thank you.
Let's have the attorneys. Mr. Ruffalo, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Would you like to give any statement?
I'm going to leave it to the testimony that I elicited. I just want to bring to the fact that, there's been changes to the side yard setbacks for a reason, common sense reasons. You can put it into your own morals, whatever. If you think 1.5 feet is enough side yard, God bless you, because if there's a fire, there's going to be a problem. My client who lives to the right is disabled, wasn't contacted once by this applicant, doesn't know the applicant, has no idea, wasn't, and it questioned it, I'm doing this, I'm doing this to the property.
Can I ask you a question? Wait, counsel, can I interrupt you for a moment? Does your client own the property?
Yes, he does.
Did he receive a notice?
That's why I'm here.
But he received a notice, correct?
That's why I'm here.
Okay. Did he reach out to the applicant or the applicant's attorney, or reach out to anybody himself?
My client is disabled. He reached out to me.
Did you reach out to the other attorney?
Pardon me?
Did you reach out to the other attorney? The purpose of notice is to put you on notice of their application. That's them reaching out to you. Did you call the attorney and say, hey, I got a disabled person? Because, I mean, you said that about 5 times, that they have an obligation to reach out to you, to sit down with you, go over the plan for their application. It's their application. You wanted to bring a concern to their attention, you couldn't call them, right?
I'm sorry, who am I speaking to?
Speak to the board attorney. I'm asking a question.
Are you Mr. Paterson?
No. Mr. LaRocca, the board attorney. I'm asking a question.
Okay.
I just want to know, did you receive notice?
I have no idea why you're cutting me off from my statement. Sir,
I'm asking a question.
you don't have to ask me a question right now, sir.
Well, I don't have to. I chose to. No. I chose to ask you a question. I didn't say I had to. I'm asking you a question. You made a statement numerous times. I want the record to be clear.
Let's make the record clear. Why are you stepping in right now, sir?
Well, I made myself clear. I wanted to know. You made a comment. I wanted to follow up and make sure the record was
If
clear.
there's some prejudice on your side, you should clean it up from this case. Because right
now, there's no reason for you to be stepping in. I'm making my final statement, sir.
Continue.
I'm not gonna continue.
Okay, good. We'll move on to the next. We'll move on to the next. We don't want to continue.
Thank you.
Mr. Burke, would you like to make a statement?
Did you say Mr. Brand?
Brand, I apologize, sir, for mispronouncing.
Sorry. Yeah, just a quick statement. One of the biggest concerns that I have here, and I understand that they're saying that they're going to alleviate the traffic issues or the parking issues because of the fact that they're going to have off-site parking. As everyone knows, typically there's more than 2 cars in the household, and with people coming and going, and the amount of cars that are on that street is a concern. And I would hope that the fire marshal is involved in evaluating whether or not it's going to make sense and appropriate, and get their opinion on this as well. In addition to the issues raised by Ruffalo, a number of those issues are concerns as well. And then, the height of the building is an issue, but I guess it's been compliance with zoning, it's not really an issue from our side. But most importantly are the concerns with regard to fire and making sure there's no traffic issues and making sure that the stormwater is not an issue, because those things are a big concern in that area, especially because that property runs down the Molly Ann Brook. And I would hope that a stormwater engineer is involved to make sure that that's not going to create any problems and it's all done right. And that's the end of my statement. Thank you.
Maggie, did that other individual call back in?
Hey, Gary, when this was approved in 2012, it was approved for how many family?
It was approved for a 2-family in 2012. I have the resolution, Commissioner, but I don't have the former plans. But it was approved for a 2-family in 2012 by the zoning board.
And what, did it expire?
I'm not sure it's the same building, but I think it did expire, yes. They
never proceeded with the building, they never built it.
And this is an R3 zone, right?
That's correct.
All right. Thanks, Gary.
I'm sorry, did you say that individual called in or didn't call in?
No, sir, he hasn't returned his call, so we don't have any callers at this time.
Well,
Let's move on. The hour's getting late. Who wants to give up their closing statement?
Oh, we're ready for me. All right. I would, Mr. Chairman. This is a proposed permitted use in the R3 zone, which allows a 3-family dwelling. This is a proposed 2-family. And what seems to be lost in a lot of this discussion about the side yard setbacks and whatnot is the fact that this is a severely undersized lot. It's only 25 feet in width. It's only 2,500 square feet, and it cannot be enlarged. So the variances that are sought are a function of that. And as Mr. Paterson pointed out to the objector's attorney, if we were to put the entrance on the other side of the proposed dwelling, it would move the building closer to his property line, which I'm sure he would not be in favor of. So this is the best design for the hardship situation that we have because of the size of the property. There was previously a 2-family home on the site, and this proposal is in closer compliance with the zoning ordinance requirements than what was previously there. As to side yard setbacks, we meet this front yard setback where the previous dwelling did not, and we're providing off-street parking where the previous 2-family did not. That's an improvement. That's a benefit to the area, to the community. All of the variances that we seek are a function of the undersized lot and the fact that we're providing off-street parking. That was the testimony from Mr. Stewart. The proposed 2-family dwelling will provide an attractive new building. It will be an aesthetic improvement for the area. It would enhance the residential development in the area. It would provide needed housing in an appropriate location, and it would advance the purposes of zoning set forth in the municipal land use law. Specifically, it would provide a variety of uses in appropriate locations to promote the more efficient use of the land. This is a vacant property at the present time. It would promote a desirable visual environment. All of these are purposes of the municipal land use law, and it advances all of those. It can be granted without any negative impact on the area, without any substantial detriment to the neighborhood, to the zone plan, and the zoning ordinance of the city of Paterson. In fact, this board found as much when it approved essentially the same application in 2012. Those were the findings of the board then, and we hope that you will find the same now, and we ask for you to approve the variances to be submitted, subject to the conditions of the changes that were discussed to the plan, to the architectural plans, and to the site plan. Thank you.
Gary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. First of all, aside from the fact that the two-family was approved in 2012, this is a permitted use. Now, as Mr. Mariansky alluded to, the lot is only 25 feet. And on that block alone, there are over a dozen homes that are 25 feet. When you have a 25-foot lot, if you have a two-car garage, you need 20 feet. If you subtract 20 from 25, it only leaves you 5, and that is what they propose. Now, I have been surveying for almost 40 years, and there are thousands of homes, and I'm sure the commissioners know this, that abut the property line. It's my understanding from working with the fire department that they usually fight the fire, if there is one, from the front of the building. They don't go to the side, they fight it from the front. Additionally, the building department will ensure fire-rated walls so that the fire is contained for at least 1 hour. And engineering will ensure that Mr. Stewart's dry well calculation handles all the water from the proposed building. Now, you have a 25-foot lot. There is really nothing else you can do with a 25-foot lot. You can't build a house that it is going to match the side setbacks at 3 and 11. That's 14 feet. You can't have an 11-foot house. You're going to have a variance for side setback no matter what you do. And in most cases, the new construction in Paterson that has been presented to the board on 25-foot lots comes at 1.5 and 1.5. I really don't see any detriment to this proposal. It has the front setback, it has the rear setback, it has the height, and it has the parking, which is usually one of the biggest conditions for the city of Paterson. And now, if the board votes to approve this, it would be with my recommendation that the site plan is revised to show the zoning chart corrections and the rear setback correction, and the rendition for the modular home be revised to show the ground floor changes and the garage changes so that it could show that 2 different units will be able to use that garage, along with eliminating the full bathroom to a powder room and eliminating the bedroom in the basement. With that, I don't see any other detriment to the neighborhood, and in most cases, this is the new construction on 25-foot lots that you will see in Paterson. If there are any questions, Mr. Chairman, I will gladly answer them. But that concludes my report. Thank you.
I need a motion, people.
Commissioner Monaro, I must to approve. Maggie, you could just read that off for me?
Yes, Commissioner, 1 moment. Commissioner Alina Menardo makes a motion that the application of Goldie C. Summer, 170 Sheridan Avenue, lot 1011, lot 22, to construct a 2-family dwelling on a vacant lot. The application was previously approved by the Board of Adjustment on September 6, 2012. The applicant proposes to construct a 3-story, 2-family on a vacant 2,500 square foot lot, whereas 5,000 square feet is needed. This is for bulk and site plan in an R3 zone. Be granted and subject to the review and approval, if applicable, of the following but not limited to the city engineer, State County Planning Board, State County Engineer, HEP Soil Conservation District, and building codes of the state of New Jersey. She so moves.
Who would like to second it?
Commissioner Watson.
Commissioner Dumas, second it.
I didn't hear that. Who was that? Sorry.
Dumas.
Thank you. Commissioner Dumas? Chairman?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners, Commissioner Dumas.
Yes.
Commissioner Furman. Commissioner Furman.
Sorry, Madam Secretary, was it to approve?
Yes.
Before I issue my vote, can I ask a question to the engineer or not?
Mr. Baraka?
Mr. Chairman.
The application has been presented, all the parties kind of summed up. It's kind of unorthodox during the vote to ask any further questions.
So what is your vote, sir?
My vote is yes to approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Rohim?
Yes.
Commissioner Minaudo?
Yes.
Commissioner Levine?
This is for approval, right, Maddie? Maddie?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Watkins?
Yes.
Thank you. And Chairman Thaxton?
Yes.
Thank you. 7 affirmative votes. This application has been granted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening, everybody. We have, commissioners, we have minutes and a resolution.
I'm ready, Mr. Baraka.
All right. Can you address the minutes and I'll get the resolution ready?
Excuse me?
Go ahead.
The minutes of July 27, 2020. Chairman, we need a first and a second motion.
Didn't we do that Monday?
Do we?
Is that the extra stadium?
No, these are minutes.
Yeah, but concerning what projects were it, Maggie?
The 27th is Hinchcliffe.
We did that Monday.
We did that Monday.
Yeah, we did that. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay, so then we just gotta do the resolution then. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Give me one moment.
Right?
All right, commissioners. We have a proposed resolution of approval before us for Master Urban Renewal LP. Application regard to property located at 1-27 Jasper Street, also known as Block 801, Lot 701, the Pacific Falls Tract. Block 801, Lot 23, and proposed to be subdivided and identified as Lot 2301. Properties located in the Public Use District Zone and the National Park Gateway District Zone, the first Ward redevelopment plan. The application is to construct a 6-story mixed-use building on Jasper Street. The application came before the board on July 27, 2020. After hearing testimony from the applicant and their experts, Rosie, there was a motion to grant the application, which was made by Commissioner Furman and seconded by Commissioner Levine. After the motion was made, there was a vote. There's 5 in favor of approval, 2 against. The affirmative votes, so you know who should vote on the resolution. Commissioner Furman was a yes. Harold was a yes. Commissioner Roheen was no. Commissioner Watkins, yes. Commissioner Dumas, yes. And Commissioner Chairman Paterson, no. Will someone move the resolution?
Commissioner Dumas move to accept the resolution.
Oh, we have a motion for Commissioner Dumas to adopt this resolution of approval. Do we have a second?
Yes.
I need a second motion. Commissioner Furman can vote, Commissioner Minaudo, Commissioner Watkins.
Second,
Who was that?
Furman. Commissioner Furman.
Thank you. Commissioners, Commissioner Dumas.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Furman.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine.
Well, yeah, I didn't hear what you said I could vote on that.
No, you vote, I see your name with a yes.
Okay. Yeah, yes.
Okay, and Commissioner Minaudo.
Yes.
And Commissioner Watkins.
No.
You voted yes, ma'am, on the
I know, but after I read the resolution, I didn't see the security measures in there, so no.
Continue, now you got complete the vote.
The vote is 4 yes, 1 no.
You're not finished, Meg. Oh.
Yes, sir, I'm finished. You voted against this, and so did Commissioner Roheen.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I had to make a statement. At this time, Commissioner Vice Chairperson Dumas will have to sign the resolution. I want no part to signing that resolution. Could you put that on record, please?
Yes, sir, I will.
Resolution.
That's correct. I will have Commissioner Dumas sign the resolution. Okay? Thank you, everyone.
Is there any other matters in front of the board? If not, the meeting's adjourned.
I think we're closed till September, Chairman.
Have a nice evening and a nice August, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
No, you were gonna tell me.
Good night.